the storms yesterday. Let's go to him now.
I'm here on the corner of Turnpike Feeder Road and Winter Garden Parkway in northern St. Lucie County. Behind me is a gas station that was completely mangled. It looks like Godzilla just came through and stepped on it and unleashed its fury wrath on it. You can see the pole that was holding up the overhang is bent over, and the overhang itself is mangled in the back corner of the parking lot. That was completely blown off. It may have taken some other things with it. The boards that were on the building itself, those have been broken through, as you can see inside of this gas station. This is definitely something that was completely eviscerated by some of this heavy weather. And again, more downed power lines here along the front. Trees came down, brought it down. The wind brought it down. No lights anywhere here. You can see the Winter Garden Parkway sign up there. The street lights are out. Same with the ones next to it. All of that is completely out. Now, there is going to be some serious work that needs to get done all throughout the county, but this gas station in particular is definitely going to be closed for business for a little while. In northern St. Lucie County, Dylan Huberman, CBS 12 News.
And that is not the only gas station in our area. Alexis Cruz also found another gas station that was totally destroyed by the storms yesterday.
Yeah, that's right. Let's get right over to a meteorologist, Jen Collins, though, now get the absolute latest about what's happening. And what we're looking at right now is the track of Milton here.
Yeah, you can see where it was and now where it's going. It's heading off the Atlantic coast, still a Category 1 hurricane at this time. And let's talk about the landfall of Milton. It made landfall as a Category 3 hurricane with winds up to 130 miles per hour, 120 miles per hour, excuse me. And it made landfall right over Siesta Key in Sarasota County. And it was, again, a Category 5 hurricane yesterday morning. And then the winds kind of weakened associated with it because it was dealing with a lot of upper level wind shear as well as dry air. And then as it moved inland, it maintained its hurricane strength and is now moving offshore as a Category 1 hurricane. Went right over Fort Meade and Harmony, just south of the I-4 corridor. Now, here's a look at that landfall, actual image of it as it made landfall right over the region. Most of the rain was to the north side of the center of the storm, but it produced extreme wind right around the landfall site in the Tampa and Suncoast area. And of course, we saw the outer bands of it here locally, producing multiple tornadoes across the area. So right now it's moving off the shore. We still are seeing some significant rainfall amounts in parts of the Daytona area, but drier air is filtering in behind the system, and that will help to kind of sweep it away and into the Atlantic. So not really much of a concern for that right now. So look at radar. We're starting to see this move offshore right now with the heaviest rainfall occurring over Daytona, parts of Lucie County, and extending as far south as the Orlando area. But dry conditions are finally starting to move in from the northwest, and this will finally help to dry us out through the day today. So our tropical storm force winds will leave our area by about 9 o'clock this morning and off the coastline by about lunchtime as Milton continues to work its way offshore. So again, gusty conditions still through this morning for much of the state as well, and we'll keep these gusty conditions around heading through the start of the morning just before sunrise, and then by the afternoon kind of easing back our winds really across the state. We were able to drop all of our hurricane warnings for the Gulf Coast of Florida, but still a little on the gusty side through about lunchtime, and then we'll start to just see breezy conditions heading into this afternoon. Here's a look at the active watches and just warnings at this time. And all the active warnings, hurricane warnings still in effect for central Florida to the east coast, down south towards the Treasure Coast, and then a tropical storm warning is really only in effect for the Lake Okeechobee area, Palm Beach County, and for the extreme northeast portion of the Florida state. So wind speeds right now across the area still a little on the gusty side. We've seen winds sustained anywhere from about 30 to 40 miles per hour, but that's now east back. We're just seeing some gusts right now in over 50 miles per hour in the Vero Beach area. I think our station at the Palm Beach International Airport has kind of stuck. We've kind of seen the 56 mark here over the past couple of hours, but I'm pretty sure the winds have finally calmed down in parts of Palm Beach County, but we've seen a 51-mile-per-hour wind gust in the Stewart area. Expect our wind speeds to decrease as the day goes along, and as we head through this afternoon and evening, we'll start to just see some breezy conditions in the area. There's a chance for a few showers as we enter tomorrow morning. Our winds will change directions to more of an onshore wind flow, and so that will push a few showers onto our coastline and also keep some gusty conditions around along our coast, but really dealing with the end of Milton by about lunchtime today here in our area.
All right, Jen, thank you. We are taking a look in Fort Myers, I believe, right now. We are keeping a close eye on what is I think that was a power outage there in Fort Myers. We're taking a look at. You just saw all the lights go out there. We're keeping a close eye on what's been happening on the West Coast and also here on our side of the state. Our coverage tracking Milton continues after this. Stick with us.
And welcome back right here to our continuing coverage of tracking Milton here on CBS 12 News.
Now we want to continue now in the village of Wellington. That is where Stephanie Valderrama has been live all morning, taking a look at the damage in some of these neighborhoods there in the village of Wellington. Steph, where are you at right now?
Yeah, we continue to track that destruction through here. So I'm still at the same place at the Preserve neighborhood. Earlier this morning, just in the last 20 minutes, I showed you guys that massive tree that fell into the road here, you know, quite a blessing for these homeowners here. They did have some damage, it seems, to like the porch on behind the house, but other than that, it seems like they were spared. But I want to show you the next door neighbor too. I'm going to shine my light here. It seems like some of the tiles were ripped off of the roof of this home. They went flying just all over the front yard, and now a lot of them just in pieces, so I need to watch where I'm stepping. But this is the damage at this home. It seems like, you know, these homeowners did take precautions to protect their home from the hurricane, but you can do all you can, but those winds from those possible tornadoes just took everything, ripped everything in its path. I also want to point out that we're seeing a little bit more activity. We actually saw someone drive through here earlier, and the village of Wellington, they're doing what they can. They had a crew out here sort of driving around trying to clear the roads, but there's also a lot of these little sort of sticks all over the road. You drive over this at the right angle with your tire and it could literally go flying, hit someone, it could hit someone's home and stuff. So just keep that in mind as the sun starts coming up. If people need to leave, drive around or potentially go to work, that just because, this is like a little piece of stick, it doesn't mean that it's not dangerous. If you're driving around, again, you hit it at the right angle, it'll ricochet somewhere. So just keep that in mind, because while they are clearing the roads, there are those little pieces of debris. And I mean, it is everywhere, especially as you're driving out big forest. There are just trees down everywhere, debris everywhere. We also earlier we told you guys that the light here at the intersection of Big Forest and Southern is still out. We didn't see any officers patrolling that area. I'm not sure what the situation is now. We also saw some of those power lines sort of leaning towards the highway. Really dangerous. So please, if you are venturing out that way, keep that in mind. We're going to send it back to you guys in the studio for now, though.
Yeah, Steph makes some really good points there, too. We were coming in earlier this morning. A lot of the major intersections getting on I-95, those lights were out as well. So you got to remember to treat those like a four-way stop.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, because power is out in some places. So let's get to Danielle DeRoss. Danielle, you've been tracking power outages here for the last 4 hours or so, and they keep going up, right?
Yeah, so in the last 4 hours, Matt, we've seen the outage total go up by about 1 million customers. So when we got on the air at about 2 o'clock this morning, we had a little more than 2 million after Milton had just moved through and made landfall. And now, as the storm system just sweeps up and out of the state, we are seeing those power outages only grow. I'm going to step off camera here so I can go county by county here and kind of just hover my mouse. But as I said, 3.2 million total in the state. Hillsborough County is making up about 500,000 of those outages. So that's in the area where Milton made landfall. Hardy County almost completely in the dark. Almost every single customer has lost power in that county alone. Looking here to our coverage area, Palm Beach County has more than 76,000 outages, and every county up the Treasure Coast, you got more than 10,000 in each of them. And then Okeechobee County has 7,000 outages. So this is something that's affecting everybody. Obviously, we're not the worst in the state. We're in the yellow as compared to the dark red where the outages are the worst. But FPL did warn ahead of the storm that customers should expect to lose power and that restoration could take a while because of the dangerous conditions that the storm was going to leave behind. We do know ahead of the storm, the state had set up linemen and staged them in what they are calling the largest ever staging of linemen in American history. So just take a second to let that sink in. They say more than 50,000 linemen were staged in Florida. That includes state crews, but also people came in from out of state to assist in this effort. So the resources are here. They're just in some cases waiting to be able to safely get to the areas that were severely damaged by this storm. Speaking of severe damage, I want to go now to St. Petersburg. So this is an update from the city of St. Petersburg, which has seen some of the worst wind damage from this storm. And their latest update, posted about 20 minutes ago, was to, in all caps here, stay off the roads. They say many roads are still impassable due to fallen trees, down power lines. They say the teams are actively working to clear the roads, but they say help us by staying off of them. We'll let you know when it's safe. This is some video that they included with their post here. I know it's blurry. They've got rain on their windshield there, but just goes to show you these are all of these trees, and you've got power lines that are tilted here in their footage. Still very hazardous out in St. Petersburg. And I want to stick with St. Petersburg and show you what is, I think, some of the most dramatic video that we've seen so far from this storm. This is drone video that Weather Nation is sharing with us this morning, and this was taken over Tropicana Stadium. I'm going to try to take this full so that you can really get a good look at this high quality drone video that was flown over Tropicana Stadium. What you're seeing here is the roof of that stadium that was shredded to pieces from Hurricane Milton moving in. And what's really significant about that damage is that this is where the base camp was set up, where they were hoping to keep linemen, to keep National Guard troops, to keep all these first responders that came into the area to help, give them a place to shelter and have a home base to operate. And here you see it's not safe to be there because they no longer have a roof over that stadium. You see just shreds of it blowing in the wind here. And we were told at one point everybody was just kind of cowering and hiding in the corridors of the stadium to keep safe. The good news here, no injuries to report, but when you just see that video, you get a whole new appreciation for the power of this storm, Matt and Sam.
Certainly, Danielle. All right, thank you. I do want to mention we did just get an update from Tequesta Police as well. They also said that they are actively patrolling the area of 23 trade winds because there is a downed power pole there. They said there's cables in the road. The street is completely impassable. They've notified FPL, but that is an area that you do want to avoid. There's also an area of Okeechobee Boulevard in West Palm Beach that one of our photojournalists just passed near Meridian Road. Part of that is also shut down because of a power line that is down in the roadway there. So again, if you don't have to be out on the roads this morning, it is best to stay home because we are seeing a lot of downed power poles and power lines, across our area.
That's right. Our Alexi Cruz saw a down power line also when she was out in Palm City. Covering was a damaged Exxon gas station there. Let's get the latest from her.
Good morning. We are in Palm City at what used to be the Midnight Farms Country Store and Exxon gas station. We are just off of Southwest Martin Highway. We're experiencing some heavier wind gusts. We have one coming in right now. This is the scene here after some insane storm activity on Wednesday. This Exxon awning here completely toppled over. Let's go ahead and show you some more damage that we are seeing here at this gas station. We've got a structure that was blown over kind of towards the main convenience store there. We're also seeing some live wires and gas pumps kind of ripped out of where they should be. Here's one of those gusts we were talking about, and you can really hear the metal clashing against the structure that's completely toppled over here, this Exxon structure, when the wind comes through. We've seen some debris flying around in the roads, some branches and a lot of power lines down. FPL was out here earlier surveying the area, kind of checking out what was going on here in Palm City. We are continuing to monitor the situation here as these strong gusts of wind have come and approached us during our coverage here in Palm City. But again, just one last look at this Exxon awning completely toppled over from what we experienced on Wednesday. As we continue to cover Milton, we'll bring you the very latest from the Palm City and Martin County areas. For now, we'll send it back to you guys at the desk.
Remarkable, some of the video that our crews are getting. So keep being safe out there. I know everybody's listening, our photojournalists, our reporters, all our first responders that are out there this morning.
Yeah, we've got more coverage coming up after this. Stick with us. Welcome back, everyone. We continue our coverage this morning at tracking Milton.
Yeah, we're just taking a look at the power outages. We see that there are a lot of people without power right now in the Tampa area. Let's go live to Tampa. That's where we find our Darwin Singleton. Darwin, what are you seeing out there now?
Well, we are still seeing a lot of power outages. There are mostly buildings downtown behind us here. They have power, of course. Of course, most of those utilities are located underground. There are still some buildings. I'm looking at one building behind me here, or actually behind my photographer. It looks like a pretty good-sized condominium building, has no lights on, a few sparkles of light and a few windows, so you know it's inhabited. But over on St. Pete, over the community of St. Petersburg, it's a lot worse over there. They don't have drinking water right now. They've had an issue with a water main break. The roof of the Tropicana field has blown off, and that's where rescue workers were. There are a lot of stories starting to pop out now. For instance, a little while ago, we were listening to a news conference, and the chief of police of Tampa said there are water rescues going on around the city because of so much rainfall that they had. In fact, about 18 inches north of the city. It all has to go somewhere. It's going into people's homes. They've actually pulled 15 people from one home, he said. And be watching for this. He says they'll be releasing video from the police department of that rescue. So there's still a lot of drama going on, even though the winds have calmed. And if you're standing here downtown, you don't notice that much different. But when you start going into the neighborhood around Tampa, you will find that there are trees down, there are power lines down. We almost ran over an interstate sign on the Salmon Expressway. You just don't know. You have to be very careful and anticipate that you are going to see something that you did not plan to see in the road in front of you. That's why they don't want you out driving if you don't have any business out here. So it's still going to be a very rough morning, a very rough weekend for people that are still trying to pull themselves together after Helene. Now they have Milton to deal with. And when you head south from here into Sarasota and Fort Myers and Naples, they're dealing with even more because they had the storm surge as well as the wind last night. So still a lot to do down here to recover from these two latest storms. So everybody keep your fingers crossed and your prayers said for South Florida today. Reporting live in Tampa, Darwin Singleton, back to you now.
All right, and Danielle, you have video of the rescue he was just talking about there.
Yeah, so Darwin was talking about hearing the police chief describe this. This is the video that they actually just posted on video seconds ago, on YouTube seconds ago. So I want to step out here. Let's see if we can take this full screen so you can better see the dramatic rescue that Tampa police conducted in the middle of Hurricane Milton. So what they say here is that they had a report of a downed tree on top of a home, and there were 15 people inside of that home, including children. And what you're watching here was the video. Let's see if we can just scroll back and play it out for you. Apologize about that. But what they were saying was that they were rescuing these folks who were trapped inside of a home, and they were able to get them to a shelter. But some really dramatic video that they were showing earlier, and we could probably bring it back for you in a minute. But I do want to also point out this post from Jimmy Petronas. He's the Chief Financial Officer and State Fire Marshal for the state of Florida. He is waking up to all of these reports of the damage, just like many of you are. And this is what he is saying. From storm surge to wind to tornadoes to flash flooding, different parts of the state felt varying impacts from the storm. He says, don't rush home. Trees are down, power is out, life-saving missions are and have been underway. Let the first responders work. No one is better at this than Florida.
And certainly people across our area are just, waiting for the sun to come up at this point so that we can see really all of the damage out there. The sun is coming up. Jen, I think you told us just after 7, right?
Yeah. 17 is when sunrise will happen, so we'll finally get some visual of kind of what the damage is around the area. And of course, with Milton, anytime you're on the right side of a tropical system, you have the potential of tropical tornadoes. And in this case, we didn't have much rainfall associated with Milton, which ahead of the outer band, which provided the environment to produce tornadic activity. And that's exactly what we saw. Here's a look at all the tornado warnings that were issued across the state. Over 100 tornado warnings issued. We're uncertain about actually how many tornadoes made it on the ground, because this just gives a fair warning of where the actual tornado could go. Here are all the tornado reports across the area, across the region, with the bulk concentration right now over the Treasure Coast area. And I want to get some wind reports on here too. In Vero Beach at about 2 a.m., one of the Vero Beach Regional Airport measured a wind gust of 84 miles per hour. And then in Indrio, you can see here a gust at the Treasure Coast International Airport measured a wind gust of 60 miles per hour. That was right at midnight. And then this is one that I found really interesting here. This is the North Palm Beach Regional Airport, and you could see a confirmed tornado on the ground passed over or very near the airport at 5:10 and produced a wind gust there of 92 miles per hour. So fairly significant there. And as we take a look at our rainfall right now, this is a current view of our satellite and radar loop. Milton is to our north and west. Notice we do have some showers working their way across the Treasure Coast at this time. And the direction of these showers are working their way in from the west. So that's our direction of wind flow currently. And that west flow will linger through the morning today, eventually turning out of the north by this afternoon. And we'll see our wind speeds decrease too. By tomorrow, though, an onshore wind flow develops, and that will produce a few showers across the area. So along the Treasure Coast through early morning, here's a look about 6 a.m. But most of the rain will begin to push inland heading into the afternoon and evening hours. Here's the current view of Milton right now. It is heading offshore, sheared apart too, so it's really dealing with that upper level wind shear and the dry air intruding behind it, and it will continue to move offshore before eventually weakening and kind of merging with that frontal boundary here over the next few days. So in Vero Beach, wind gust sustained at wind gust as high as about 50 miles per hour here through the morning, and then dropping back into the early afternoon. And again, our winds are sustained right now anywhere between about 25 to 30 miles per hour. This morning, we've seen gusts even as high as about 70 miles per hour in the area. So our wind speeds will decrease through the morning, likely ending our tropical storm force winds, sustained tropical storm winds as we head through the day today, and likely we'll clear this out heading through about lunchtime. We're going to take a look right now at at Fort Myers, I believe.
Yeah, downtown Fort Myers, Jen. We've been had our eyes on this. Actually, it looks like maybe some of the standing water might be going down a little bit in the Fort Myers area. This was very close to where Milton made landfall late last night. And it's where we've seen the most of standing water storm surge issues in the state of Florida. We'll continue to keep an eye on it and the impacts in our area in Palm Beach County and the Treasure Coast coming up next.
Welcome back. We want to continue our coverage here tracking Milton with CBS 12 News reporter Alexis Cruz. She is in Rocky Point in Stewart. Lexi, what's happening there?
Sam, as you mentioned, we are in the Rocky Point neighborhood that saw a tornado rip through. This tree next to me completely uprooted and toppled over, but it only gets worse as you continue to walk this way. You can see the end of the tree here fully submerged into this car. There's actually a camper and a boat behind the rest of the tree. We're not able to access that at this hour. I'm gonna walk over here and introduce you to the homeowner. This is Max. Max, it was a regular Wednesday. You were out hanging out with neighbors. You came home 30 minutes later. What happened?
We were by the front window here and just hanging out watching the storm. We've got hurricane windows, weren't too worried about it. And it sounded like a train was coming and things were swirling around, and it kind of hit me like this is a tornado. I had no idea. I'd never seen one before. It ripped through, stuff was sitting in the house. We lost a tree. I grabbed the kids, laid on the living room or the kitchen floor, called for everybody to get down. And I mean, it's just, I've never seen anything quite like this. The entire house is destroyed. I don't know about the status of my stuff, but we're alive and okay, so.
And we're so glad that you're safe. My question to you is, you kind of took us through the neighborhood before we became on live TV here. Can you tell me about roofs are missing, they're in your neighbor's yard, some of the damage that you've seen just driving through as the sun comes up today?
Yeah, we're actually lucky. There are people with no roof. Obviously nobody has power in here, but down Major Way and the main road here, there's debris everywhere. I don't even know if it's sheds or roof material, but there's catastrophic damage on multiple streets. I saw the one tornado come through this way, and I know there's another one on Major Way. So.
And Max, you're a first responder in Martin County. You respond to a lot of tragedies, a lot of emergencies. Have you ever seen anything like this in your career?
Yeah, I've seen this before a couple times. I was through Francis, Jean, and Wilma, and I've seen damage like this. I just didn't expect it to happen to my house. But, we're very lucky to be alive and okay, and, stuff can be replaced. So it is what it is.
Well, we're happy that you and your family are safe. We'll continue to check in with Max as the morning continues. We just want to leave you with one last look at his property here. Like I mentioned, there is a camper behind this tree and a boat. We're not able to access the backyard, and Max's family is safely sleeping inside right now, so we don't want to disturb them. But this car right here, just one of the many pieces that him and his family will have to pick up and figure out what to do next. But like he said, very lucky to be alive, and he is thankful for that. We'll continue to check in with you throughout the morning. For now, reporting live in Rocky Point, I'm Alexis Cruz for CBS 12 News.
Wow, unbelievable.
I know. I imagine, as the morning continues, we're going to see more of that and hear more of these stories from people who were caught in a tornado.
Right. And that, he's Max, the first responder, says he's seen this kind of thing before, but we've never seen as much in as many different places at the same time as it's happening right now.
Yeah. All right. Well, our coverage of Milton continues after this. We're going to take a quick break. Stick with us. Good morning, everyone. If you were just joining us now at 7 a.m., we are continuing our coverage, tracking Milton here on our coast. Of course, we are taking a look at all of the damage across our area that was left behind yesterday from all of the tornadic activity we saw in our area. And Hurricane Milton made landfall on the west coast at about 8:30 last night after speeding up a bit.
Yeah, it sped up, and the landfall was earlier than the National Hurricane Center's forecast. So that was one thing that went into kind of how quick the system went through the area and kind of our timing of severe weather too, how it happened during most of the daytime. And as it made landfall, of course, the biggest concern was the storm surge associated with it because it is a major hurricane making landfall. The bulk of the storm surge was to the south side of the actual landfall site, so it made landfall near Sarasota. And so much of the storm surge was kind of in the Charlotte Harbor area, down south into Venice and into the Fort Myers area, where we saw some video of the actual storm surge. And you can actually see here the video of this house fire. This was in Venice.
This is in Venice, yeah.
And so not only do they have to deal with the storm surge, but in some cases, no one's probably home to, to see their property or anything, and so fire catches. And then in this next video, I think we have more of the water right now. This is in St. Augustine. So this is actually on the opposite side of the state where they still also had higher than normal tides. And
lots of rain.
And lots of rainfall too.
Right
Yeah, so we have a significant amount of rainfall ongoing right now that's starting to move offshore, but in Volusia County.
And they're doing water rescues. Danielle DeRoss has shown us some video in that area, also of the state this morning, getting out there and trying to rescue people after they got a significant amount of rain.
Yeah.
We also have a video from Kings Highway, which is in our area, and this is debris there. You can see on the roadway. FDOT is sharing these photos. We are seeing a lot of debris in our area after what was a busy afternoon yesterday with one tornado warning after the other.
It was multiple tornado warnings, and each and every single cell that we were watching had very well-defined signatures on radar of where that hook echo is, what we look for tornadic activity. So it was difficult because we were getting one tornado in one location, another one in another location. So we were trying to prioritize the two. We were on air for 9 hours covering CBS 12 covering the tornadoes yesterday. So the damage that we saw immediately was significant. But sunrise is here soon, so we'll have to see what the more damage if possible. Yeah.
And over time, we'll see exactly how many, or we'll have a better idea of how many tornadoes really did come through our area.
Storm surveys for Miami will be done tomorrow, most likely. Obviously this morning they still have ongoing impacts at this time, but one thing is that we've had 3 confirmed tornadoes right now in Palm Beach County, and they have to go out and actually conduct a survey in order to know how strong it was. They have to look at the buildings, look at what was picked up and thrown around, and in order to get to the estimate of what that wind speed is, which rates a tornado. So that might take some more time, because not only did some of these tornadoes track through one weather service office, it went into another weather service office's area too.
What are we looking at right now, Jen?
Right now, the storm is starting to move offshore, so our winds will decrease. I want you to look right now at Milton's landfall site. Milton made landfall here in Siesta Key. This is in the Sarasota County area, and moved across the state and made landfall as a Category 3 hurricane, maintained its hurricane status as it's moving off the coast of Cape Canaveral right now. So the storm surge impacts were on the south end of that, but the wind and rain impacts were really on the north side of the system. And you can see here winds of 120 miles per hour as a Category 3 hurricane. Look at the size of the storm, and of course here, well away from the center of the storm, we saw the severe weather threat. Here's a look at Milton now. It is really being influenced by upper level wind shear and dry air, so it's kind of falling apart. Still a hurricane. Wouldn't be surprised if maybe it maintains it or maybe weakens into a tropical storm. Regardless, it's moving off the coast. Dry air is wrapping in behind it. speeding it away from us, and eventually will merge into a frontal boundary in the Atlantic Ocean. So we still have very heavy rainfall and some flooding ongoing in the northern portion of the state, kind of near the Daytona Beach, New Smyrna Beach area, down south into Orlando. But dry air is now working its way towards I-4 and will eventually clear out. So here's a look at Hurricane Milton's wind field still. Our tropical storm force winds will decrease and likely move offshore here through about mid-morning, and then we'll be clear of the system through the day. Again, our wind gust across the state will continue to decrease, maybe a little breezy heading into this afternoon, Matt and Sam.
All right, Jen, thank you. We want to remind you to make sure you have our CBS 12 News Storm Track weather app. You will still want that today as we are still feeling impacts from Milton. It's the best way to check on those current conditions in your area. You can download it for free from the App Store. Just search CBS 12.
And CBS 12 News reporter Kara Duffy is live in the acreage for us, and it's beginning to get a little lighter outside. Kara, what are you seeing out there right now?
Yeah, Matt, this is really sad now that we are finally getting a better look at some of the damage left behind. We're realizing just how widespread it is. Earlier this morning, it was so dark out here, not only dealing with power outages, but also just the fact that it was the middle of the night. And it was hard to see just how widespread it is. Take a look. If you, this is along Coconut Boulevard, just off of North Lake. You can see from the pond here in this community all the way to the road and the residential area, just littered with so much debris here. We have trees that have just been snapped right in half. We have down power lines. We have so much trash. We have gutters out here, boxes, appliances, you name it. It has made its way out in these lawns and in the middle of the road here. Fences and vehicles just tossed aimlessly across this area. Again, this is typically a very busy, popular street just off of North Lake Boulevard here, and now it has been very slow, almost spooky, eerie with silence this morning. Few and far between are the people that kind of come by, see what's going on out here, and we do know that several people were injured. I also want you to take a look as we make our way over here. This is something that I just think speaks volumes as to how strong this tornado and this storm must have been. This truck over here tossed as if it were a toy up across this little ravine area, now sitting just before the lake here. Now, we do know from Palm Beach County Fire Rescue, they put out an update last night on their social media sites saying that they treated at least 5 people were taken to the hospital. 3 of them were trauma lifted out of here, and then they also saw countless number of people who were just kind of out here on the scene yesterday evening and afternoon who were possibly injured in this tornado. They were treated and then released out on the scene. But again, we know at least 3 of these people were trauma lifted and needed to be rescued. We can only imagine how terrifying this ordeal must have been. Once the sun starts to come out more, we should get a better idea as to just how far the damage spreads. Again, as of now, we know it's pretty much compacted into this area here along Coconut and North Lake, a few blocks down the road. We've seen law enforcement out there. They've been out there blocking off some of the areas to some of the other developments that we also know experienced tornadoes last night, one of them being a 55 and older community. Quite a lot of damage there. We've also seen some pretty unbelievable footage, giant dumpsters on top of roofs. It's pretty unbelievable. I'm hoping to get that video and photo into you. Let me see if I believe you may be looking at that photo right now. It's kind of windy, so I can't hear. Okay, so right now you can see just how unbelievable it would have had to been for the strength of that storm to lift that giant dumpster up on top of roofs. So as we continue to get footage like this in and speak to people as they start waking up, I'm sure we will continue to hear some unbelievable stories, and certainly something we will stay on top of throughout the day as we really try to grasp the magnitude of the damage left behind in last night's storm. Matt, Sam.
Yeah, unbelievable stuff there. And again, we're going to see even more and more of that here as the sun is beginning to rise across our area.
Let's continue our coverage with Danielle DeRoss. She's been keeping an eye on, the situation in other parts of the state as well. Danielle, what's the latest?
We keep getting reports about water rescues that are underway in all corners of the state where this hurricane has swept through, everywhere from Tampa up to St. Augustine. And this account is out of Orange County this morning. So the sheriff's office in Orange County just posted this. As Hurricane Milton continued to roll through Orange County this morning, they say their emergency response team was out in force responding to a mobile home park. And they say in some parts of this area, water was chest deep. You see some of their photos here of their crews out wading through the water. But get this. They say despite their efforts, none of the residents wanted to leave their homes. And they end this post by saying, we hope they are able to stay safe. So that's just one account of a water rescue underway where apparently they did not want to leave despite those floodwaters. That is what they are saying, chest deep in parts of Orange County. Here I want to pull up that body camera footage out of Tampa. The police department sharing this rescue that they performed during Hurricane Milton. I'm going to press play, try to take this video full here. So what's happening here in this video? During the hurricane, Tampa police got a call about a tree that fell on top of a home. Inside this home were 15 people sheltering, including multiple children. And you see those people being pulled out of the home and taken to safety right here. The police say that they were able to do this rescue during a break in the storm as some of those bands were moving out, and they were able to take this group of people to a shelter to be safe. So thankfully, these people were willing to leave their home, but just incredible to hear that account out of Orange County where they just didn't want to leave. Matt and Sam.
All right, Danielle, thank you. We want to continue our coverage now here again locally. We want to get back to CBS 12 News reporter Alexis Cruz. She is in Rocky Point in Stewart.
We're going to get to her in just a few moments. She's been following everything that's going on there. We know that Furry Friends in Palm City, that's an animal rescue. All the animals have been saved out of there, but unfortunately, much of the building there has been blown away by the tornadoes that we saw yesterday.
They said it was a total loss. Their windows were blown out. Their buildings have collapsed. Thankfully, the animals were taken to safety before the storms passed through the area. No one was hurt, but they are going to need a lot of help there at that animal rescue, and in the form of donations, of course, but they need volunteers. What they really need is fosters to help with those animals. Yeah,
you can go to CBS12.com right now and find out more about how they can do that. Let's go back out to Lexi Cruz. Lexi, last time we checked in with you, you were interviewing a gentleman who had some damage to his home. What are you learning now?
Yeah, Matt, I'm actually in his neighbor's backyard. I want to draw your attention to this hole in the fence. You may be wondering what caused this hole. Well, how they described it to me, it sounded like a buzzsaw, and it felt like one as a neighbor's roof from 3 blocks away came through their backyard. That's the roof right there that you're looking at that crashed through that fence. They took me through the area where the roof fell off of the house, and it flew over 3 blocks during those tornadoes yesterday. Yeah, that's his neighbor's roof just sitting in his backyard. This is only some of the damage that this homeowner has suffered. He feels very lucky that you can see the roof here just kind of feet away from his house and windows. So he says he feels very lucky that it didn't go through his house. It didn't make its way through the windows. Him and his family are safe. I'm told by neighbors here that there may have been some people who were transported out of the neighborhood, but everyone is fine. The gentleman we spoke with earlier, he saved him and his 4 kids that were in the house as well as his wife. They hid in a kitchen when the tornadoes were ripping through. That was the closest area that was away from all of the windows. This is just some of the damage. Like I said, this roof crashing through this fence here in the backyard. On the other side of this man's house, there's lots of debris. The gentleman across across the street, of course, having that tree crashing through the car, and his home inside was spared. There's a lot of cleanup in this community, but just in the 20 minutes that I've been in here, I can tell you that these neighbors are committed to helping each other out. I heard the two gentlemen, the owner of this house and the one I spoke with earlier, talking about how they're going to Home Depot, they're going to rebuild, they're going to get things cleared out. This one has a chainsaw, that one. There was a kind woman that lives across the street that offered us to park in her driveway. Her home, not suffering a lot of damage, was asking if any of these gentlemen needed any help with their homes. So it really is neighbors helping neighbors here in Rocky Point. This is just some of the damage we're showing you now. An entire roof busting through this man's fence and ending up in his backyard. But like I said, he said him and his family feel very lucky that it didn't enter their house. We'll continue to survey the damage here as the sun comes up in Rocky Point. Just a little windy and rainy now, but we'll see you in a few. Back to you guys at the desk.
I gotta imagine what a scary situation, though. And, you know, for the man that she interviewed previously, you know, getting his kids on the ground, protecting them. It sounds like a freight train when it comes through. You know, it's unimaginable when you've never been in that situation.
When there's a roof from 3 doors down that's flying your way. You know, again, this is just one of the many stories that we're going to be hearing today. Our Dylan Huberman's got another one for us. He's in unincorporated St. Lucie County at the Lakewood Park Church.
So we traveled farther up Turnpike Feeder Road up to the end of the road and led us here to Lakewood Park Church. The sign is blown out, but that is not the big debris here. You see this tree behind me? Well, that tree came all the way down, as did a few of the sister trees next to it. Lots of the pieces of that are on the ground here. A light pole has also come down, pieces of that. Gone down, a lot of debris. Fortunately, though, all of these trees did not come down on the church itself. However, the car parked outside the church, not so lucky. That car has been totaled. So a lot of this is coming down because of the winds, the debris getting blown down. And as you can see, all of those trees are gone. But again, fortunately, the church itself did not have a come down. In unincorporated St. Lucie County, Dylan Huberman, CBS 12 News.
Yeah, and Dylan keeps working his way and finding more incredible damage from that area. And we have more to get to.
Yeah, let's take another look at the tornado that touched down in Wellington. If we have that video, just take a look at the size of that. Could you imagine seeing that just coming towards your neighborhood? It's really hard.
You know, and we had so many people that were sending us these videos yesterday. I want to say this was about 5 o'clock or so yesterday, 4:30, 5 o'clock. And it was scary. You know, some people went to work that day thinking that, well, they, didn't have to worry about anything with the storm until late at night when it was expected to make landfall. And then, unfortunately, they were on the roads when there was a tornado happening. So, and we're seeing some of the damage that's left behind.
Yeah, scary situation. We did get a lot of video from neighborhoods, from the highway, people capturing this. You know, it all happens very quickly. So, just in an instant, you're going about your day normally, and then all of a sudden there is a tornado right there in your neighborhood. We want to show you this. Police department's reminding drivers, what to do if traffic lights aren't working properly. We are seeing a lot of power outages around the area. We have seen that there are traffic lights out in our area, so always remember, if you're out on the roads and the traffic lights are out, you should treat that intersection as a four-way stop. Flashing red lights should be treated as a stop sign. Flashing yellow means that you should proceed with caution when traffic permits.
We just saw that tornado that was going through the Wellington area, and our Steph Valderrama's been there with the village of Wellington there this morning. They have a lot of cleaning up to do today. And I know, Steph, you're learning that they're going to give us an update here in about an hour or so.
Yes, so we are waiting to hear from village officials for more information at about 8 a.m. this morning, but they did share some new details with me so far. They're counting about 6 traffic lights out at this hour here in the village of Wellington. So really be careful when you're going out on the roads. As you just heard Sam say, if you come to an intersection and the lights are out, treat it as a four-way stop. When we were trying to get here, people were just driving crazy. So again, if you come to a stoplight and it's out, treat it as a stop sign. As of 5 a.m. this morning, 30% of Wellington customers are without power, which is roughly 8,000 residents. I'm hoping to get information on how soon they're hoping to restore power to those residents. And we've seen so much debris both on the road and people's yards. So they're encouraging residents to contact their insurance companies to report any damages. But if you have to clear debris out of the way immediately, the Village of Wellington is asking people to just take pictures of it in order to support your claim. But really, the most important thing right now is that people need to be patient. They're trying to mobilize crews, especially now that it's daylight, in order to get out there, clear out the roads, help people move things off of, their properties. So patience is really the most important thing. Of course, I'm going to be asking more questions from village leaders once we get to them. Hopefully here in the next 45 minutes, we'll have more information to share. But again, the most important thing is be patient. I've said it all morning long, but I cannot stress this enough. If you don't have to leave your house today, don't do it. Just stay home. Matt, hand back to you.
All right, Stephanie, we'll check back in with you shortly.
Yeah, let's get right over to meteorologist Jen Collins now. Jen, there are still some parts of the state. I'm sorry, let's go to Lauren with a check of our weather right now.
Yeah, so we're still, of course, continuing to keep an eye on Milton. Milton has made its way off the coast. We're still monitoring the storm very closely. I want to show you some of the alerts, though, that are in place right now across parts of the state. If we're able to pull up Max 2, the entire West Coast, the Gulf Coast, all of the alerts have been lifted there. So that means that the cleanup crews and search and rescue, if it's needed, can start to go out there because their winds have calmed down enough. They're not dealing with tropical storm or hurricane force winds anymore. It's safe to do so there. Tropical storm warning still in effect for Palm Beach and Martin County and the lake. We're still dealing with sustained winds around 35 miles per hour or so. We've been dealing with gusts up to about 70 miles per hour or so right now across the entire area. Hurricane warnings still in effect for St. Lucie, Okeechobee, and Indian River County. So here's the latest from the 5 o'clock update from the National Hurricane Center. They were doing hourly position updates. They're not going to do that anymore because the storm is now off the coastline. Winds at 85 miles per hour, very unimpressive looking along on satellite there. Falling apart, that's what we love to see. However, there's still some gusty winds and heavy rain that's coming onshore, mostly near the Space and the First Coast this morning. So you'll see here Milton's going to keep dissipating and weakening as it moves east. Notice the L on Friday. By early tomorrow morning, this will likely be a post-tropical or extratropical cyclone, so it won't even be a hurricane anymore, but still producing very gusty winds. We've got a few showers across our area locally right now, coming through Okeechobee, St. Lucie, Indian River County, but I'm going to move this a little further north. You can sort of see where the center of the storm is, and then you'll notice these outer bands pushing still, even though the storm is moving east, the rain is still getting pushed towards the coastline. So still some heavy rain falling across areas up near Brevard County. And like I mentioned, into St. Lucie, Indian River, and Okeechobee County as well. Plus, it's really windy outside. So that's also leading to still some gloomy conditions. The sustained wind right now in Vero Beach is 35 miles per hour. Our peak wind gust so far today has been up in Vero at 70. We did have an 84 mile an hour wind gust, though, measured there yesterday. So we'll monitor those conditions through the morning, but this is sort of the worst of what we'll be dealing with right now. And as the storm continues to pull away, we will slowly see those conditions improving for us as we go through the next few days. So I want to send it out. Headed northbound right now on I-95 in West Palm on our storm tracker. Charlotte, you seen anything out there right now? Where are you headed? Oh, hey guys. So I'm on 95 right now. We're heading towards Vero Beach. It's super windy up there. There's still a hurricane warning in effect. So we're going to check out the conditions over up in Indian River County, see what it looks like. We have some reports of damage. We're going to try and stay away from down power lines for, our safety and everyone else's, and just to make sure that the linemen are able to get out there and do their work without us kind of getting in the way. So we're also going to check out some of the damage from some of the reported tornadoes. National Weather Service of Melbourne is going to head out there tomorrow, as Jen mentioned, to do some surveys to check and see what EF rating or enhanced Fujita rating that they give the apparent tornadoes that touch down in the area. We do have several confirmation on videos of tornadoes in Indian River County and St. Lucie County, Okeechobee County as well, and Palm Beach County, of course, with the Wellington tornado later in the day. So we're just going to check that out. We'll check back in with y'all periodically, but yeah, it's definitely really windy out there. We feel a little bit more of the truck shaking today compared to yesterday when we would get brief wind gusts, but it's definitely still really windy, and definitely listen to your local officials if they're telling you to stay inside, and there's still a lot of debris on the ground, so just be patient, stay inside, try and keep yourself safe as much as possible, and we'll keep you updated with our progress. Guys?
Okay, Charlotte, thank you very much. Let's take a live look out at Juno Beach. I gotta say, it looks totally normal out there right now. Just a regular Thursday morning from our Juno Beach beach cam. Certainly, it is not normal in our western and northern communities that are picking up after Hurricane Milton brought tornadoes to our area. We will continue to go out and get live looks at what it looks like this morning and what our residents and our neighbors are waking up to coming up next. Stick with us. And welcome back here to our coverage of Tracking Milton. We're laughing a little bit here just because we're...
I thought this was a test.
I believe we're on air.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
Lauren
I've
doesn't
been
really
told
ever know what
otherwise.
she's doing.
Yes, we're on air.
Okay.
So here we are talking
Yeah.
about Milton, of course, here at 7:30. We've been on the air taking over from the night crew for the last 5.5 hours. And the sun is rising in some cases pretty beautifully as we're looking at this beach camera right now in front of us. And for our communities in Palm Beach County, east of 441, you're waking up being like, oh, what storm? But for certainly our neighbors to the west of 441 in Palm Beach County and on the Treasure Coast, there's a lot of picking up to do.
There is. And I mean, even when I was driving into work this morning and I was pulling up to the station, there's palm fronds all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of felt my car almost off-roading a little bit this morning. So we're going to have debris like that, you know, a leaf on the ground, and people will, you know, make the funny meme, we survived Milton, but we dealt with significant tornado damage yesterday. And it's still incredibly windy up across parts of the Treasure Coast, like you mentioned. So a lot of that debris, as our reporters have also been showing this morning, it's still getting blown around out there. So even if you wake up and you go outside and you think, it doesn't look that bad, the wind is still strong enough to blow around a lot of the debris that we saw from yesterday.
We have, our reporters are in those locations where we got that significant activity yesterday. There are trees down. There is so much damage. And, people who live in those neighborhoods are going to want to come outside. They're going to want to try and clean up as best they can. At what point today is it safe for them to kind of start doing that?
I'd say almost by mid-morning into about lunchtime today, we have, most of our wind threat will be it's almost pretty much done at this point for most of the area. We still have some gusty conditions too, so that might, knock around some loose items. But as we head through the day, we're likely going to improve our conditions. We have a few showers right now developing in the Treasure Coast, so that's the only thing.
And of course, the big headline this morning is that we do know that there were multiple fatalities in Fort Pierce.
Yes.
St. Lucie County Sheriff Keith Pearson did confirm that to our Victoria DeCardenas last night. Right now, that's all the information that we know about that. We don't know how many people, we don't know exactly where they lived, and of course we don't know anything from the rest of our counties yet. That's what we're going to continue to learn here as the morning goes along.
Yeah, we do know there were some serious injuries. Our Kara Duffy did get some information in Palm Beach County near the acreage, Palm Beach Gardens, that area. There were some people that had to be trauma lifted out of those areas after these storms passed through yesterday.
Yeah, a lot of blocked roads yesterday, as I had mentioned, was tornado day, long track tornadoes. We saw 126 tornado warnings get issued across the entire state of Florida. That also includes the West Coast, parts of Central Florida as well. But, we had, I lost track of some of it, but one tornado could have had at most, up to 10 warnings issued because it just stayed on the ground for so long. And a tornado that we saw in Martin County could have been the same tornado that made its way all the way to Fort Pierce or parts of Vero Beach because they stayed on the ground for so long. And they produce, of course, the significant damage there.
And I have to say, too, the danger's not over, even though it seems like the sort of weather-related conditions are, because we know every single time that we go out to one of our reporters in the field, they tell us they are seeing down power lines. So we need to make sure that if you're going to go out there, you have to make sure that it's safe. Keep your eyes open for anything like that. And if you see down power lines, stay far, far away.
Yeah, and as the wind threat goes away and we get we lose the tornado warnings and the tropical storm warnings, crews are going to be able to start to go back out. Linemen and FPL, they're going to be able to go back out and cut power to those lines, turn power back on into homes for people that don't have it. So we need to wait for that wind threat to really go away, and it hasn't yet. And so that's why we're kind of saying, like you mentioned, it's really tempted to go outside and look at the damage.
You get stir crazy, you want to go outside, see the damage, and yeah, but you got to stay inside.
You really do. I mean, the good news, though, is that it looks rather nice across parts of our area this morning. We're dealing with an offshore wind. This is a live look right now, I believe, in Jensen Beach. So that offshore wind is helping to kind of make the water a little bit flatter. We still have alerts in place, like we've been saying. Hurricane warnings in effect still for St. Lucie, Okeechobee, and Indian River County. Tropical storm warning for Martin and Palm Beach. But again, it is starting to improve out there. I would say, like I mentioned, by the 11 o'clock advisory, most of our warnings should be gone. I wouldn't be surprised if they got rid of some of them by the 8 o'clock update that comes out within the next 30 minutes, but we'll watch it closely. The structure of Milton, not impressive anymore. That is good. That means it is weakening and continuing to fizzle and fall apart as it pulls away. Winds right now still, though, sustained at 85 miles per hour. It is a Category 1 hurricane across our area. We'll take a quick check on the track right now. And again, winds at 85. It did pick up some speed yesterday, which is why it made landfall a little bit earlier than originally anticipated, and why our conditions will be improving a little bit faster because now it's moving around 18 miles per hour. So that forward motion really helping to kind of lessen our impacts earlier in the day. I want to send it over to meteorologist Jennifer Collins now to take a closer look at the timing of the tropical storm force winds that we're dealing with and sort of when this is all going to move off the coastline.
Yeah, and as I was mentioning earlier, by about mid-morning, we're going to start to see most of that wind field kind of move off the shore as Milton actually is kind of falling apart right now. It's being kind of incorporated into a frontal boundary. So as that moves offshore, our tropical storm force winds will move offshore with it. And as you can see, by about 1 o'clock, most of our area outside of that wind field. So as we head through the day today, there is the chance for a few showers in the area. And then through the day, we have this kind of west wind flow, and that's going to push some of that shower activity towards the coast, lingering around the Treasure Coast closest to the center of the circulation. And then as we head through the day tomorrow, a northeast wind flow will develop, and we have just enough moisture behind Milton to push some of that shower activity onshore through the start of the day, but most of that shower should start to push inland, though, by the afternoons. That's tomorrow. By Saturday, we have that straight onshore wind flow. And so over the next few days, we'll start to see our conditions improve across the area. A few scattered showers possible heading into the weekend. Today, we have the wind for this morning. That'll ease back by the afternoon and evening. Temperatures in the low 80s for the next 2 days. And then look at the storm chance into next week. Scattered showers and thunderstorms possible Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. But look at our temperature trend remaining in the low 80s. I think our heat and humidity days are a little bit behind us as we approach the middle of October.
Jen, thank you. We want to get out to CBS 12 News reporter Kara Duffy now. She has been alive in the acreage for most of the morning, and now the sun is up. Kara, I know you're getting an even better look at the damage out there in that area.
Yes, Sam, and what we're seeing is just unbelievably sad this morning. Just to get kind of a preview and to see how widespread this is, take a look. I mean, earlier this morning, it was so hard to tell just the extent of all this. Now that the sun's coming up, it is unbelievable. Looks like something out of a movie. We've seen fences, power lines, trees, vehicles, you name it, just kind of smashed and toppled all over yards and streets out here. Now, while we've been outside, we've been talking to people who live in the neighborhood. One of them is this gentleman here, Sammy Main. Sammy, thanks for joining us this morning. How'd you make out last night?
Held together. You know, my house is fine, my family is fine, but my community is hurt right now. So that being said, you know, the acreage is a spot where everybody's gonna come together. I had to drive out just to see what the damage was. But it's, like you said, almost something out of a horror movie, demonic-like.
Yeah, and you know, I know you have a big old pickup truck. You've been kind of knocking on your neighbor's doors. So really unbelievable to see the support as people start waking up. But from what you're hearing from other people, what was the scene like when this hit? Because I know a lot of people are saying it happened so quickly, but everyone really jumped into action.
Like you said before, out of a horror movie, it's something that nothing less. You know, we don't prepare for anything like this. It's never happened in the acreage or in Loxahatchee or in West Palm, Royal Palm, anywhere you're at in Palm Beach County. This doesn't really happen. So for, you know, you just sit outside your door and you see it coming towards you, you can't do nothing about it. You know, all you can do is just, you know, prepare for the worst and pray for the best.
Yeah, and then before I send you on your way, Sammy, you were talking about this area which we've seen all morning long, and you're saying that this isn't even compared to the streets over areas that we haven't even seen yet. What can people expect as they start getting a chance to kind of step outside their doors?
Well, just expect, you know, just be patient. First of all, be patient, take a breath. It's going to be overwhelming for some of these people. A street over, there's a trailer home in the middle of the road. There's lines out. There's paper everywhere. There's an unopened box right here as well. So just be patient. You know, take a breath. We're gonna get through this. We're gonna get through this for sure.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Sammy, and you be careful as you continue to make your way out. And thank you so much. And of course, Matt, Sam, we're going to continue to stay put out here. We should update you, though. We did see that Palm Beach County Fire Rescue. We can hear law enforcement in the area. That is something that has been happening all throughout the morning. A lot of these roads have been shut off, but we should confirm before we send it out. Palm Beach County Fire Rescue, they did post overnight saying that at least 5 people were taken to the hospital. 3 of them were considered trauma patients. So, of course, we know the severity of their injuries very serious out there. We also know that several people were forced to be pulled from their vehicles. A lot of them kind of abandoned throughout the roads we're seeing. Certainly something we will continue to assess the damage as we go forward with the day, but devastating nonetheless. Matt, Sam.
I know a lot of people feeling like Sammy out there. They might be okay, their house might be okay, but they are feeling for their communities this morning.
Yeah, it is incredible, though, to see everyone coming together, neighbors helping neighbors in this situation.
Yeah, Danielle's got a new look at the tornado from Martin County yesterday. Danielle?
Yeah, this is video here that the Martin County Sheriff's Office just shared on their Facebook page. I'm going to step off camera so that I can press play, and hopefully we can take this video full. But they shared this video just to demonstrate how quickly one of those tornadoes whipped up. So look in the corner of that screen. You see the clouds starting to form. You see the birds start to fly away. You see a palm tree blowing in the wind there in the corner. Now watch that upper right-hand corner as that funnel cloud just starts to grow and spin and move closer and closer toward this camera. And you see it move across the St. Lucie County inlet there. One of many tornadoes. Just take that in. Just watch that video there that the Martin County Sheriff's Office posted. Again, one of many tornadoes that we saw yesterday impacting our area. And today we are just starting to get a look at how severe the damage that's left behind truly is. I want to go now to some other parts of the state. This is the Bradenton Police Department putting out an update this morning. And what they are saying here is that they are urging people to stay off of the roads so that rescue and restoration crews can survey the damage. They say early this morning, their crime reduction team helped clear trees to rescue crews so they could begin the work of locating residents who chose not to evacuate. So this area here on the Gulf Coast, very close to where Hurricane Milton made landfall. You see here some of the images that they're sharing out of Manatee County. Very large trees. They've got chainsaws right there. These trees completely blocking some of the roads. And what I keep seeing as more and more law enforcement and emergency management officials are posting on social media this morning all across the state, it is the same message. Do not go out. They say it's too hazardous. You got trees, you have down power lines, you have flooding. It's not safe to be out right now. And that is what we are seeing all over the state. That is the message over and over again. So that's just one police department out of many with that same message, Matt and Sam, this morning.
All right, Danielle, thank you. We want to continue our storm coverage now in Port St. Lucie with CBS 12 News reporter Dylan Huberman doing a ride along with Port St. Lucie police right now. Dylan, what are you seeing there?
Morning, guys. We are surveying the damage here in Port St. Lucie. We're going to go get an idea of what these tornadoes did, what they did to houses, what they did to people, what they did to roads. This is the first look that we're getting now that the sun is coming up so that we can actually see some of the damage that was caused. This is not one of those circumstances where we have to shine a light and see what's going on. Mother Nature is going to do that for us after the storm. So we're going to go check out what's lying around in Port St. Lucie. And Officer Berger here is going to take us around, and he's going to be his first look at this as well. So we'll keep you guys updated on what we see over the next hour or so. Guys, back to you.
All right, Dylan, we'll check back in with you there shortly then. We want to take a look at this video again. This is of a tornado moving through a neighborhood in Avenir in western Palm Beach County.
And so a video also just in our newsroom showing video of a brand new Publix that was almost entirely finished. It was set to open in just a couple weeks. Now it certainly won't. Look at the damage here. Yeah, so this is also in Avenir, far west Palm Beach Gardens. Brand new development. Everything being constructed using the state-of-the-art technology, and no chance against this tornado.
And we have some storm damage from a home in Loxahatchee as well. You are taking a look at what was a screened-in patio there in that backyard with that pool that has been completely torn apart at that home in Loxahatchee.
Certainly the tornado winds can do that. Certainly debris in a tornado could do that. And we're going to see more and more of that, of course, certainly as the day goes along today.
All right, let's continue our coverage now with CBS 12 News reporter Alexis Cruz. She is in Rocky Point in Stewart. Alexis?
Sam, Matt, we are in Rocky Point right now where this community was ravaged by one of those tornadoes yesterday. This is in the Stewart area. Just to show you some of the damage we're looking at here at this home, this tree completely uprooted from the ground. And when you walk over to the start of the tree, it only gets worse. This tree completely toppling into this vehicle. This is one of the homeowner's daughter's vehicles. A total loss here, the trunk cascading through the windows. And behind me here, there's actually a camper and a boat in the backyard. You can't even see it because of all the damage from this tree being uprooted. I'm going to take you over as we zoom out to the front of the house just to show you how devastating this could have been to the safety of this family. Of course, their home, just a lot of destruction in the front yard with that tree in the car. But see these branches right here and these tree trunks? It's just feet away, if not inches, from their front window, which could have been really devastating and dangerous to this family here. There's some more debris in the front yard that we can show you here. Trees snapped in half. This just shows the power of this storm. Now, neighbors are starting to come out this morning and survey the damage to their homes. This is definitely one of the hardest hit homes in the Rocky Point community. As the sun has come up, people are coming over to this homeowner and asking if he needs any help. Cleanup efforts are only just beginning, but we have seen, Sam, I heard you talk about the community and how they rally together in times like this, and in the Rocky Point community, that speaks volumes. People are walking their dogs, they're delivering water to one another. I'm watching neighbors hand out water to each other. Everyone's checking in on their neighbors here. Everyone, for the most part, is accounted for and safe. They say the man who owns this house said that he heard a train coming. That's what they describe. Many of the neighbors have described as the tornadoes ripped through. So they were actually at a neighbor's house at a get-together at the time when the tornadoes were coming. Everyone took shelter in their own homes. The homeowner here was able to collect 4 kids and his wife and put them in the kitchen. That's their safest area away from the windows. So very lucky to be alive. They feel lucky to be alive. Of course, we'll take you over to this mess that they have to clean up here. Lots of damage. They don't know where they're going to start, but they are thankful that they're alive, their family is okay, and their neighbors are okay as well. We'll continue to survey the damage here in the Stewart area in Rocky Point, but we'll send it back to you guys now at the desk.
It is incredible, the images we are seeing now that the sun is up, the magnitude of what happened in these communities.
And Danielle keeps finding things on social media and across Florida for us. Danielle, what are you seeing?
Yeah, this is a picture from the city of Largo. So that's in Pinellas County, where Hurricane Milton was very close to making landfall last night. And these photos here show some of the damage that they are starting to see this morning. They say their emergency crews are clearing the roads, assessing the damage right now. And due to downed power lines and fallen trees, they're asking people to stay indoors. We keep hearing that message over and over again from all parts of the state impacted by the storm. Checking in here on this image, how many gas stations have we shown you this morning that look just like this? You see it completely toppled over. You see the gas pumps on their sides, the top of that gas station now tilted. And you've seen that in our coverage area as well. This is a woman illuminated by some light here. And you see, just for context, how small she looks compared to that tree that has fallen down. Again, this is in the city of Largo, which is in Pinellas County. And speaking of Pinellas County, this is what the sheriff's office is telling people right now. They say there is a county-wide closure there, and that they say effective immediately, all access points to Pinellas County are closed until further notice due to hazardous conditions all over Pinellas County right now. They say their barrier islands will be remaining closed. Also want to do one more check of power outages this morning. I've been watching these power outages across the state go up and up and up, but hopefully now we've seen them reach their peak, because they haven't gone above 3.2 million in a little while now. So that is still significant. It's still a wide part of the state that is impacted by power outages. That includes all of our coverage areas here, Palm Beach County, up to the Treasure Coast. We've got tens of thousands of outages in our area. And of course, here where Hurricane Milton hit and made landfall, that's where the outages are the worst. But again, the latest count, 3.2 million outages across the state. It's going to be a long road to recovery, and getting the power back on is going to be one of the first priorities. Matt and Sam.
Danielle, thank you. We want to take a look at some major storm surge, flooding, and extreme winds. This is along US 41 in Venice, Florida, with the landfall of Hurricane Milton not far from that area. Numerous structures there were just inundated with water. Residents were sheltering at a school in Newport Richey as Milton made landfall. This is that's what you're looking at right here, this school where people were taking shelter as the storm made landfall.
We're just getting an update right now from the city of Riviera Beach. They're telling us that the Blue Heron Bridge right now is closed to the public. It says there have been concerns because of some marine vessels that have impacted the bridge. So they're closing that right now. For now, you cannot get across the Blue Heron Bridge that's in Riviera Beach, obviously, to get over to Singer Island. The city of Riviera Beach is going to keep us updated with what's going on there. So certainly a scary situation.
Yeah, so many impacts that we're not yet aware of, and we're just starting to learn. Of course, we're going to share them with you, but the overwhelming message from officials in all of our local cities and counties is that, you know, you really should stay inside if you don't have to go out. There are some dangers out there after the storm passed.
Yeah, we're going out there for you, trying to make sure that we get the information for you so you don't have to, including our meteorologist, Charlotte Carl, who is driving along in our storm tracker. Charlotte, where are you and what are you seeing?
Yeah, so we're about at mile marker 110 on I-95, which is exactly where we were yesterday when we received reports of some damage along I-95. I'm going to flip the camera around so you can see what we're seeing. You can see on the center part of the highway there are trees snapped in half, and those were reported as part of a tornado that touched down in this area. There was also a semi-truck yesterday that we passed that had been flipped over. It was eventually righted and towed off the highway. But overall, the damage along this highway, you know, we've just been seeing these medium to large size trees snapped in half, which generally indicates an EF1, a low end EF2 tornado that passed through. At least touchdown. We don't know for how long. The damage assessments will again be done tomorrow. We're now at that Becker Road exit, so around mile marker 114 on 95, and the winds are gusting up to 50 miles an hour here. So it's still feeling very, very strong in terms of that wind speed, and it's just going to get higher the further north we go. We're heading up towards Fort Pierce, so we're going to check out the damage there because there were several longer track tornadoes that touched down in St. Lucie County. So we're going to check out that damage and see what's going on up there and give some, I'll give some initial perspective on, you know, what I think the wind speeds may have been based on the damage, because that's exactly what the National Weather Service is going to do tomorrow. Guys.
All right, Charlotte, also in St. Lucie County, that's where we find our Dylan Huberman.
That's right. We want to get out to him, and now he's with Port St. Lucie Police. Dylan?
Yeah, so I'm here with Officer Peter Berger, and we just got here to start doing some damage assessment on the corner of Merchant Lane and Rosser Boulevard. So I'll leave the floor to you, Officer Berger. Tell us what you see here.
There's stop signs down, there's power outages, a lot of fences, cars damaged, trees in the roadway, a lot of debris.
And let's go over here and we can show the general public what is coming on over here. Stop signs down here, lots of debris, a lot of power outages as well on this street. Some of the people here telling us that they don't have power, and you can take a look over here as well to my left. There's a lot of fences down. There's a lot of debris here. This was a big, big zone, so I'll leave the floor to you here, Officer Berger. Tell us what went down here and what's next.
A tornado made landfall here and also a little further south. And the residences behind here got also damaged pretty well. Nothing structural from what we can tell, but every resident said they were fine, and that was priority at the time.
Now, when it comes to the tornadoes that come through here, obviously tornadoes are relatively common in Florida, but seeing this kind of damage in this community, is this something that's normal here?
No, never seen it.
So what do we do now? What's the next steps throughout the rest of the day?
Public Works has been called out to fix the stop signs. Power Utilities has been called to fix the power, to bring power back to the people. And those are the two main things. We cleared all the debris that we could yesterday to make the road safe, and now it's just getting all those people back out here to get all the debris up.
And guys, we're going to go continue taking a ride around the city of Port St. Lucie and get a good look. Officer Berger, thank you again. Guys, back to you.
All right, Dylan, thank you. We will check back in with you shortly. We're taking a live look in Delray Beach right now. Looking pretty nice out there here along the coast at this point. It's still pretty windy as we get this Thursday started. But as you just saw there with Dylan, of course, we have many communities that are left picking up the damage from what was quite an afternoon yesterday with all that tornadic activity across our area. We're bringing you the latest here on Milton. Stick with us. Our coverage continues after this break. Welcome back. CBS 12 News this morning as we continue to track Milton. I'm here with Lauren and Jen. What's the latest, this morning? People are just waking up. They're seeing the damage, but the storm has passed now.
Yeah, the storm has passed, and we're starting to see our winds ease up a bit. Some of our strongest winds were reported, outside of thunderstorm activity, of course, from the severe storms yesterday. Outside of that, some of our strongest winds were actually reported towards like the midnight hour as Milton was making its closest approach to our area. So we actually had some wind gust reports, and one of the top wind gust reports in Palm Beach County that the National Weather Service put out was at the Palm Beach International Airport. They reported a wind gust of 72 miles per hour, and
just shy of hurricane force.
Yeah,
still pretty powerful.
Yeah, and that's interesting for Palm Beach County to see that. So we'll have to see what kind of numbers we get from the Treasure Coast. We'll have to wait a little bit to get those numbers. But the strongest wind gust overall was actually in one of those tornadoes. One of the North Palm Beach Regional Airport right there on the Beeline Highway actually reported a wind gust of 92 miles per hour as that tornado moved over that airport. So, it was taken in one of the outflows from the actual tornado itself.
And of course, we're still waiting to find out how strong these tornadoes were that came through our area yesterday.
Yeah, so they're probably not going to go out to survey any of this damage until maybe Friday. So they have a lot to do today. They got to go through all of this data, and then I think by the time we get to Friday, they'll start to head out, and they even said, we're waiting until Friday to go out to look at the damage, because, there's still a hurricane to track. The 8 o'clock update came out. Winds are still at 85 miles an hour. It's still a pretty strong storm moving off our coast.
Exactly, and let's get the latest on that too. Here's a look at our peak wind gust across the area. As I was mentioning, we actually had a 66 mile per hour wind gust in the Lake Okeechobee area. That is in inland Palm Beach County. These are Palm Beach County numbers. And we had a 61 mile per hour wind gust that was reported at the Juneau Pier. And then our next top report in parts of southern Palm Beach County was one in I could show you that again here. One in the Lantana area, that was a 56 mile per hour wind gust. And then another one in inland Palm Beach County here, Pahokee, had a 57 mile per hour wind gust here. So those are some of the top wind gust reports in Palm Beach County. Here's the latest on Hurricane Milton. As of the 8 o'clock advisory, it's still moving offshore. Still a hurricane at this time too, and it's now 75 miles to the east of Cape Canaveral. So here's a look at what is steering and what is pushing Milton away from our region. It's this dry air behind it, a jet stream dipped down, and it's now interacting with a frontal boundary and will eventually merge with it and eventually kind of fall apart, essentially. We still have an area of low pressure, so it can still be designated as a hurricane, but we're still dealing with a heavy rainfall threat right along the I-95 corridor in parts of Brevard County, and some showers here locally too that will eventually work its way offshore. So our tropical storm force winds will move offshore today through about mid-morning, and by the afternoon we're clear from any sort of wind potential. And you can see on our gust right here too, gust will ease back later on in the day. We could see some gust over 30, 35 miles per hour through about lunchtime, and then we'll ease back those wind speeds as we head into the second half of the day. We will start to see our warnings kind of fall off the map here. Hurricane warning still in effect for Central Florida and parts of the Treasure Coast. We have a tropical storm warning that's still in effect for Palm Beach County, but again, as conditions improve, expect those tropical conditions to, tropical warnings to fall off. So here's a look at your wind speeds and gust at this time. A 30 mile per hour sustained wind in the Stewart area. Wind gust as high as 61 miles per hour right there. And then in Palm Beach County, our winds are easing back to about 20 miles per hour. So mainly just on the breezy side across the area. Sam and Matt?
All right, thank you very much, Jen. Continuing our coverage now is CBS 12 News reporter Alexis Cruz in Rocky Point.
Now let's get out to her now with the latest there.
Matt, Sam, we're still in the Rocky Point neighborhood in front of a family home. They're actually watching CBS 12 right now. Hi, Max and Jamie. They are safe, and so are their children. The basketball hoop behind me just kind of shows you that there are kids who live here, many kids in this neighborhood. We're going to walk you over here to show you some of the damage to this home. This tree completely uprooted, crashing through the family's cars. 2 cars damaged, one through the windshield, and then the other one completely through half of the car in the back seat. There's a camper behind there too, and a boat that has sustained damage, but they cannot even get to it. As the sun comes up, neighbors have been coming outside to survey this damage and offer a helping hand. There's also that tree snap there in their front yard, lots of debris. They tell me they're lucky that nothing was projectile into their home. Let's take you out to the neighborhood now, though, because it does appear as you look down the street that the other homes didn't sustain any damage. Their backyards, one backyard's got a roof from 3 blocks away in it, screens, patios completely demolished, pools overflowing with lots of debris, furniture moved into pools, patios unrecognizable. So just so you don't see it in the front doesn't mean that these tornadoes didn't have a huge effect on this Rocky Point neighborhood. And I can't emphasize enough, the people I've met here are wonderful. They're in high spirits. There's a lot of cleaning up to do, and they're not sure where to start, but they'll be helping each other out through this entire thing. We're going to continue to report from this area in Stewart and go ahead and see what else we can find. Sam, Matt, back to you.
All right, Lexi, thank you. We want to get to Stephanie Valderrama now. She is in Wellington. Stephanie?
Yes, Sam. So here is that update as promised. I'm joined now by Jim Barnes with the Village of Wellington. Jim, it's been a long night for all of us, especially the people here. Have you had a chance to get out and sort of see and assess the damage yet?
We continue to do that, and generally starting last evening when after the tornadoes passed and we were able to at least start doing first response with Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office and Palm Beach County Fire Rescue, we did see some of those communities, the Rustic Ranchers community, Meadowwood, Binks Forest, Lakefield, etc. And the damage is devastating. For a lot of the families that were impacted, they're going to need a lot of support and services in the coming days. And at this point, we're continuing our recovery and assessment efforts to see the entire extent of the damage. It appears that we weathered the storm throughout the night just fine. It was really most of that tornadic activity that happened yesterday afternoon and early evening that caused the devastation that we're seeing this morning. And we're going to continue to do the assessment and also ramp up our recovery efforts.
Speaking of recovery efforts, you know, a big question as people are waking up this morning is, what do I do? I mean, what are you encouraging for homeowners to do today? What is the plan?
Our plan today is to continue our assessments, determine if any of those structures that were impacted are unsafe and uninhabitable, to make sure that we keep our residents safe. That is our foremost priority, is our resident safety. And to do that, we want to make sure that they have the services they need if they are unable to stay at their homes, if their homes are compromised, that they reach out to us, they reach out to the Sheriff's Office, they reach out to Fire Rescue to get the support they require. Second, we also want to go ahead and ensure that at this point, really, we'd like them to stay home if possible, stay off the roadways, shelter in place as we start this assessment and recovery and try and get through the process. We're hopeful that it won't take that long to at least get the assessment completed. And in that time, we just want to go ahead and support our first responders to let them get their jobs done and, again, keep our residents safe, which is our highest priority.
You know, some people are waking up still in the dark. I believe at 5 a.m., about 30%, so roughly 8,000 people here in Wellington were still without power. I mean, any idea when they could get electricity back?
Our discussions with FPL this morning indicate that's about right. We're still in that 8,040 customers that are without power, roughly 30% of our customer base here in Wellington. And as a result, FPL has indicated they have crews out. They are starting to try and address those outage issues. Largely, I think, based on FPL's recommendation and assessment that most of those outages are a result of down power lines. And the good news is with the weather and not being as inclement as we had expected, they're able to start those repairs now, and hopefully that number we'll see drop sooner rather than later.
Jim, thank you so much for your time. I know you have a lot of work ahead of you today, so I appreciate you taking some time to speak with us.
Thank you.
We're going to send it back to you guys in the studio. Hopefully we're going to head back out there and bring you some more, but for now, back to you.
Yeah, that is the one very fortunate thing about today is that we were expecting today to be a big storm day, but luckily for the people that need help today and for those officials and first responders who are out there working on getting the people that help, it should be safe for them to be out there today.
Yeah, which is great news because we have a lot of communities that are in desperate need of that help as we are starting to see the damage this morning. It is truly unbelievable.
Yeah, let's get right over to our Danielle DeRoss. She's getting more video here of some of those tornadoes that came through yesterday. Danielle, what'd you find?
Yeah, we just keep seeing more and more videos of the damage, but also some videos of tornadoes sweeping through the area. I want to show you this one right here that's been posted on the St. Lucie County Facebook page. I'm going to step off camera so that way I can press play. We could take this video full so you can really just watch this tornado sweep through. So I want you to watch the trees, especially as the clouds are getting darker. This is near Orange Avenue and South Rock Road yesterday afternoon. You see their visibility and then, just the wind rip trees apart, just grabbing the top of that tree, sweeping the foliage away. You really get a sense of the power of this storm yesterday. This all caught on camera in St. Lucie County, just one of many tornadoes that swept through our area. I just want to let that video there play out because you really get a sense of just how quickly and how fast and how furious these storms were yesterday. As soon as it came, and there it's gone. I also want to show you some of this video here from the St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office. What this video is showing is just some work that's underway on Midway Road right now. They say that Midway Road is currently closed. You're seeing here some machinery there on the roads trying to just get rid of some debris there, fallen trees in St. Lucie County there. Midway Road closed west of I-95, they say. The St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office, just about every sheriff's office in our area, they are sharing the same message this morning that they are just now getting out, surveying the area, trying to clear debris, getting trees like this one out of the way, making sure that power lines are not going to be hazardous. It is a mess out there all over the place. The message is stay off the roads, don't go out looking for this, just stay inside for now because it is not safe to be out and about this morning from many parts of our area. Matt and Sam.
And it is the same in Port St. Lucie. We know that is where our Dylan Huberman is at this morning. He was riding along with Port St. Lucie police to get an idea of the damage. Let's check in with him now. Dylan?
Guys, I'm joined here by Jim Back and Officer Peter Berger. And Jim Back, this is your backyard. Describe to me what happened here.
We had a tornado hit us, and it just sucked everything and threw everything all over the place.
Now, what did this backyard look like? Because we see piles of everything. We see the fences down. What was back here? How much did you lose?
We lost our shed and everything that was in the shed, our fence, and a whole bunch of other stuff. I don't know everything that's gone yet.
And what are you guys going to do next to try and repair the damage? And how thankful are you that no people were hurt here?
We're very thankful no people were hurt here. We were just lucky that all we have is damage to the house a little bit and everything.
And now to fix that damage, we have Officer Berger here kind of giving us the lowdown. So Officer Berger, what is the next step here? What do you see here that needs to be done?
A lot of debris needs to be picked up, whether that be from public works or whatnot. As soon as it's safe for them to come out, they will come out. But due to the winds, they haven't been out yet.
Now, when it comes to the fencing, like you were saying in the ride along, a lot of the times these fences don't stand a chance with tornadoes. Seeing how everything else went down, but the pool stayed intact, how surprised are you?
That is surprising. It is. But the fence posts that are lying all around, you see where some of them hit that shed over there, and that's got to be the most dangerous part there of a tornado. It's the flying debris, and it pierced right through that shed with no problem.
Now, this is a back street. This is Merrick Street. Like you mentioned, 2 or 3 houses on this block. How did the tornado just decide to come through and just destroy Mr. Back's backyard and just leave unannounced?
It had a mind of its own. Zigzagged through this part of the city. Unpredictable.
And have either of you guys ever seen a tornado in St. Lucie County do this?
I've been here 8 years, and I've never seen a tornado hit the county like this. I mean, for me, but I have only lived here 8 years.
Same. I've never seen it in 19 years.
And guys, we're going to keep surveying the damage around the city as we keep going around here with Officer Berger. Jim, thank you very much for your time. Matt and Sam, back to you.
Actually, we're going to go over to Jen and Lauren now.
Yeah, so we're, Matt and Sam, we're getting the 8 o'clock updates coming in from the National Hurricane Center. Sometimes our graphics are a little delayed to update, but the warnings are starting to drop across parts of the area. We no longer have a tropical storm warning in effect for Palm Beach County, and then all of our hurricane warnings have now been allowed to downgrade to tropical storm warnings.
Yes, and even in Palm Beach County, no longer under tropical storm warning, but we are under a wind advisory. So they're still saying, hey, there's still some maybe gusty conditions in the area through the day today, but that wind speed will decrease heading into the afternoon as conditions improve.
And it's still going to slowly continue improving as we go through the next few hours, and it will be safe enough within the next few hours to go outside to start that cleanup process, survey the damage that might be around people's properties.
Exactly, and we still have a few showers in the area, so we can actually pull up graphics right now and show you kind of where the showers are located at this hour, mainly along the Treasure Coast, working its way working north along the St. Lucie County area, kind of along the border there of St. Lucie and Vero Beach. But notice most of the rain starting to push offshore. We now have dry conditions in Palm Beach County too. So conditions are improving, which is a good thing that this hour, as Milton quickly moves away into the Atlantic. We'll see mostly sunny conditions later on this afternoon, maybe a few clouds in the area. And then looking ahead to tomorrow, an onshore wind flow does return, and that northeast wind will actually draw in a few showers into the area through the early morning along our coastal communities. So we will see a few showers to start out the day tomorrow. I want to let you know beforehand. And as the showers progress inland into the afternoon, we'll start to see slightly drier conditions filter in, but we still have the shower chance heading into the weekend just because we have an onshore wind flow in place. And here's a look at the hurricane warning in effect for the northern Treasure Coast, Okeechobee County, tropical storm warning in effect for Martin County, but a wind advisory has now been issued for Metro Palm Beach County, just because we'll see some stronger wind gusts possible as we head through the day. Matt and Sam?
Jen, thank you. We are getting another look right now at Tropicana Field in Tampa. This time you're looking at it from inside. This is the baseball field that was previously hosting, thousands of linemen and National Guard members who were coming to assist here in the recovery after the storm. According to officials, the lineman staging area had already been relocated before the roof was damaged. But I mean, that roof just completely torn off of that stadium.
Well, it's obviously not very good planning if that's where they were putting everybody and trying to keep them safe. But again, everyone is safe, as thank goodness.
News.
In Punta Gorda, we've got video capturing the moments a transformer exploded, and there goes
all the power.
The whole neighborhood without power.
We have a new video just into our newsroom this morning from St. Petersburg, just north of where the storm made landfall. Video from this live traffic camera shows the traffic lights flashing on and off along the Pinellas Bay Way.
And let's go back to Danielle DeRoss at the live desk. She's got more for us. Danielle, what are you tracking now?
Looking at travel and some of the difficulties getting in and out of the state because Tampa's airport remains closed. This is the latest update from Tampa International Airport this morning, saying that a damage assessment is currently underway. Crews are assessing damage post-Hurricane Milton. They say that TPA remains closed to the public. They announced a closure yesterday, or perhaps it was the day before, and they say that they hope to announce a reopening plan later today. So they still haven't announced when their airport will be able to reopen. They're just taking a look around at this point and trying to assess when it might be safe to do so. Same appears to be for Palm Beach International Airport, because this is the latest update that we have from them. They closed the terminal last night at 8 p.m. and they say that they plan to reopen as soon as conditions approve. And they have not posted anything since then. So currently PBI remains closed. Modes of transportation, everything from Palm Tran to Brightline to Tri-Rail, all announcing earlier this week that they would be closed today. So we will be monitoring them to see if they announce if they are going to reopen tomorrow, as originally they hoped to do. But for today, seems to be that a lot of transportation is still very limited in and out of the state. Matt and Sam.
All right, Danielle, thank you. We want to go now to our Katie Benty, who is giving us some of the latest from Vero Beach. Let's see what she has for us.
I'm in Vero Beach, just 10 minutes south of where we were earlier this evening, right off of US 1 in Oslo. This is a very popular complex, Publix, Walgreens across the street. McDonald's over here, and I'm actually with one of the owners of one of the businesses over here, Brian. Brian, tell me a little about your business. What sort of damage you've seen? What's going on?
My name is Brian Getty. I'm the Allstate insurance agent in Vero Beach. Tornado just ripped through the complex here, damaged probably most of the businesses here. As you can see, the car is flipped over on its side there. So we're just kind of assessing the damage and securing the area to make sure there's no looting.
No, that is a great point. That's something I've actually been wondering about. Did you at all expect people to be kind of out here and preying, I guess, on the unfortunate situation?
Yeah, probably not tonight, but I would think maybe tomorrow people would start to come out after the storm passes. So all you can do is seal everything up and just get a hold of the authorities.
Did you at all expect something like this? Obviously, you were going out to check broken glass in the windows, things like that. Did you expect to see this?
I was not expecting this. I live on the north side of the county, and although we probably had 10 or so hurricane watches and warnings today, I did not expect this. I got a call from the landlord and drove down here as soon as we could. As soon as it was safe to come down here, check it out. We boarded up the building, got all the computers out and all the IT stuff. And we will set up remote and we'll continue as is on Friday morning.
Amazing. For you guys who don't know what we're talking about here, right behind Brian is actually a flipped over car, likely from a tornado that actually probably tossed it right over here in this parking lot. But for now, we're going to send it back to you guys in the studio. I'm Katie Benty, CBS 12 News.
All right, of course, that was our Katie Benty there. That was, several hours ago, late last night, some of the damage that we were seeing in Vero Beach. I do have a very recent update, though, from the Indian River County Sheriff's Office right now in Vero Beach about bridge closures there. The Barber Bridge and the 17th Street Bridge, both still closed right now while first responders are working to clear those roadways and access the area for any necessary evacuations. They want to make sure emergency crews can get there, so they're asking people to avoid the areas. Those bridges are closed, but they say the Wabasso Bridge remains open at this hour.
And speaking of bridges in Riviera Beach, the Blue Heron Bridge that goes over to Singer Island is also closed. City of Riviera Beach says there's concerns due to marine vessels impacting the structure. The closure will remain in effect until FDOT completes a thorough assessment of the bridge to make sure that's okay. So the city is going to continue to keep us updated.
Yeah, getting a lot of updates now this morning from all of our local officials. So we will keep you updated on the very latest. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back with you.
Welcome back. We continue our coverage tracking Milton right now. Let's go to Charlotte Carl. She's in Fort Pierce. She's been driving in our storm track truck there. Charlotte, what are you seeing?
Yeah, so we are in Fort Pierce, or just outside of Fort Pierce, at the Orange Ave exit. We're at the corner of Orange and Rocks Road, and there is a giant warehouse that was torn up behind me. It looks like it was one of the areas that the tornado passed through. I mean, with the way the damage looks, there's no way that it wasn't a tornado. And this is one of those warehouses that pop up pretty fast. It's, you know, just kind of built with those metal supports and then some aluminum around it. So it doesn't take a very strong tornado to rip these apart. However, I wanted to highlight how far the damage is scattered. Across the street, I would say at least a few hundred yards down away from the road, and because of the orientation of this, you know, with the tornadoes tracking from south to north, it likely was lofted up and then carried with it as it traveled towards another aluminum structure, which is torn up down that way as well. And I also wanted to highlight behind me, this is exactly the risks that come with going outside during these tornadoes before emergency officials get to the areas. There are active wires down. You know, we don't know if they're live necessarily. They could have been cut off last night, but they're down in the waters and the canals on the side of the road, and you can see them everywhere. So it just highlights how, you know, these things, they rip apart these power lines. There's no power on Orange Ave. The Wawa down the road has no power. Several other of the gas stations right off at this exit have no power as well. So it does appear as though at least the tornado may have ripped through the power line. That may have been the way through which the power was cut off, or they cut off the power manually. But I mean, this is crazy. I don't think, I've lived in Florida my whole life, and I've never seen damage like this because of a tropical tornado. Normally these are just smaller, quick-lived EF0, EF1 tornadoes. But Jen was mentioning earlier that jet stream, that was one of the things that contributed to these being a little bit longer track and also stronger at times. So it'll be really interesting. You know, this is one of the structures that they don't consider to be well constructed when they're doing their assessments. So when the National Weather Service of Melbourne comes out here tomorrow, it'll be interesting to see what they give this area a rating in terms of the EF scale. I'll send it back to y'all.
As Floridians, you know, we prepare for hurricanes, not tornadoes. A lot of people not prepared for what happened yesterday.
Oh, you can't really. I mean, it's, you know, it's very difficult to prepare, certainly, or impossible to prepare for a tornado. Let's get right to Kara Duffy now. She is joining us live in the acreage. Kara, what are you seeing?
Well, Matt, Sam, we just moved about 2 blocks down from where we have spent most of the morning. We were at Coconut and North Lake. Now we are at 87th North and North Lake, where you can see we are seeing more of the same, unfortunately. Just a lot of damage and devastation. Take a look. You can see a big thing that we've been seeing in a lot of different places, these down power lines, the down power poles, which of course are very dangerous, and just a ton of debris. Now, Palm Beach County Fire Rescue, they just got out on the scene maybe 5 minutes ago or so. We're still unsure exactly what they're doing. They are putting some gear on now, but of course we're trying to be extra careful as it is still very dangerous. And perhaps one of the most telling things behind us here, this RV trailer, it's really hard to even make out what it was in the first place. Just completely destroyed, crumpled as if it were a toy car of some sort. We've been seeing a lot of people kind of coming out, starting their morning and taking in the devastation. Really, really upsetting to see, as so many people are realizing just how serious this was last night. You know, something that we've been talking to a lot of neighbors about. The fact that we didn't get a ton of rain. You know, people typically associate the heavy rain, the heavy wind, and everyone was saying, wow, you know, I didn't hear it raining. I didn't think we were going to get it that bad. And then boom, out of nowhere, this happens. And unfortunately, that is one of the really scary things about the tornadoes. They pop up out of nowhere, and certainly part of it comes with the hurricane, and something that we've seen throughout our viewing area yesterday. And as we continue to move forward today, the biggest thing here is just these power lines, people taking care of the debris, getting it out of the way, making sure that these roads are passable. There's been a huge law enforcement and fire rescue support. We're also working to get more information to see how the people who were rescued yesterday. I know earlier this morning we showed you some of the vehicles that had been tossed along the highway. At one point, the guy a street over, he said that the vehicle was dangling in the trees. Casualties. It was a pickup truck. So just unbelievable when you think about the magnitude of the destruction here. Certainly checking to see how those people are doing today. We know 5 of them were taken to the hospital, 3 trauma lifted. So again, just something that we are working to get more information on as people start waking up and really getting a good look at this damage and devastation. Matt, Sam.
So many people just, thankful to be safe after, what happened yesterday and seeing that damage, which of course we are tracking this morning. We're taking a live look in Jensen Beach, where it looks a little ominous off the coast there right now.
But generally speaking, right now, your conditions are looking okay. We're going to check back in with our meteorologist after the break.
Welcome back. We continue our coverage tracking Milton, and we want to check back in with CBS 12 News reporter Alexis Cruz. She has been in Rocky Point for much of the morning. Alexis, what's going on out there right now?
Yeah, Sam, we are actually just a street over from where we were before. They told us we had to check out the situation over here. And as you can see, we have an RV camper situation completely toppled over on its sides. Now, the owners of this home tell me that they've been in Florida only for a few years. The man who owns this home is from Texas. He said he's no stranger to tornadoes, but since they've been in Florida since 2020, they've never seen anything like this. They didn't expect this. They actually say they used to live in this camper for a few years. This was their backup plan if tornadoes ran through their house or if they had any storm effects from Milton. Yeah, that backup plan was canceled once the tornadoes ripped through this neighborhood and flipped this RV on its side. They have no idea how they're going to get this thing out of their yard. This RV is actually pushing into the neighbor's mango tree, and that tree is toppled over on partially on the neighbor's home here. So this just shows you how powerful the winds were in the Rocky Point neighborhood Wednesday during those storms and those tornadoes. Just like the other homeowners in this area that we spoke with, they tell us that they were at a restaurant actually coming home on a golf cart when the tornadoes ripped through. So they also are thankful that they are safe today. This is the damage that they have to figure out how to clean up. Matt and Sam?
Lexi, you've been in, that neighborhood for the last hour or so. You've been talking to different homeowners, really getting to see the damage now that the sun is up. As they're coming outside this morning, what are you hearing from them? What's the sense that you're getting from these people who live there?
Well, Sam, the message is we are so lucky to be alive. Of course, they're overwhelmed by the amount of damage in their backyards, and some, like the home we're in front of, in their front yards here. They're not quite sure where to start. This all happening yesterday when those tornadoes ripped through. They just kind of took the evening to hold their loved ones close, and now the cleanup really begins. We're watching neighbors come out of their homes from across the street, lots of people on golf carts kind of surveying the damage and seeing if their neighbors need help. I will tell you, I've never been to Rocky Point, but now I feel like I'm family here. The neighbors have been so welcoming to our crews, and they also have been lending a helping hand to each other, so that really speaks volumes to the community here, and they're all in it together. Sam?
All right, Lexi, thank you. We're taking a live look here at Juneau Pier. We're going to take a quick break, and then we are expecting an update from Governor DeSantis, so stick with us. We'll be right back.
Governor DeSantis giving us an update in Tallahassee. Let's listen in.
They're out there assessing damage right now. First responders have been working all through the night to help people who were in distress. And what we can say is the storm was significant, but thankfully this was not the worst case scenario. The storm did weaken before landfall, and the storm surge, as initially reported, has not been as significant overall as what was observed for Hurricane Helene. Right now, it looks like Sarasota County had the most significant storm surge, likely somewhere between 8 to 10 feet. And remember, with Helene, we had 15 to 20 feet up in Taylor County. Rescue missions have been underway throughout the night. State search and rescue teams report at least 48 individuals have been rescued as of 0630. National Guard search and rescue teams have worked overnight and successfully executed rescues of families and pets on the West Coast and from the destruction of the tornadoes in the central and eastern parts of Florida. The Guard continues to work into the morning and have 31 rescue aircraft operational and hundreds of rescuers engaged in over 125 active missions in 26 different counties. Over 6,500 soldiers are deployed throughout the state. Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission has made land and water rescues in Pinellas, Hillsborough, and Pasco County. The State Guard has also been engaged in search and rescue, assisting with floodwater evacuations as well as damage assessments. There are currently 3.1 million accounts without power. There have been 635,000 restorations since Hurricane Milton hit Florida. The areas that have the most significant outages as of this morning are Hillsborough, 75% out, Hardy, 97% out, Manatee, 82% out, Pinellas, 68% out, and Sarasota, 75% out. Of course, there are 50,000 plus linemen that have been pre-staged. A lot of what they'll do this morning is likely assess the damage and then begin restoration operations very quickly. And we appreciate everybody that's in that fight because that's very important for a lot of people. Cut and toss have begun at First Light by the Florida Department of Transportation. 328 crews are active in the field with over 350 pieces of heavy equipment and trucks. 150 bridge inspectors were dispatched at First Light and have begun performing inspections to open bridges across the impact areas. As I put in my executive order, residents have a right to be back into their homes as soon as the roadways are deemed safe. In Tampa, the Gandy Bridge and Howard Franklin Bridge have been inspected, cleared, and are open, and inspections of the Sunshine Skyway Bridge are underway. There is debris on the Sunshine Skyway as well as the Courtney Campbell, but once that debris is clear, we anticipate those bridges opening later this morning. Other bridges are being opened as soon as the state inspections are completed. The Tampa Airport is repairing minimal damage and should be open no later than tomorrow. Seaports are awaiting Coast Guard channel surveys to reopen waterside, but as of now, our initial assessments is they will likely be able to resume operations very quickly. We still have a lot of school closures for today. I think Floridians should just keep in contact with their local officials about what that's going to be. I would imagine a lot of the schools that were not necessarily in the direct path of the storm will be open tomorrow. It may take a few more days for some of the places that were harder hit. Now, as you survey damage and clean up, please be cautious of hazards. We have post-storm fatalities almost every storm, and a lot of these fatalities are avoidable. So please be cautious of downed power lines. Don't touch them. Don't remove tree debris that may be entangled with downed power lines. Standing water can conceal downed power lines and other hazards, so please be mindful and never walk through storm waters. Standing storm waters can also carry a bacteria that can lead to fatal infections. This type of infection was responsible for a fatality following Hurricane Helene, so please avoid wading through standing water. Please use proper ladder safety. Please use proper generator safety. Do not operate the generator inside your home. It must be outside, a safe distance from doors and windows. Visit Florida's emergency accommodation modules on Expedia and Priceline will remain available for those who are returning to their homes, which were evacuated during the storm and sustained damage or in need of other type of shelter. So these models will continue to provide real-time hotel availability and lodging resources, making the experience easier for users. If traffic lights are out in your area, please drive with caution and treat each light as you would a four-way stop. And also remember, if you're going to use a chainsaw, be very careful with that. We have mishaps on that after every storm. We are extending the Hope Florida line for another 2 weeks at 24 hours, 7 days a week. So if you need assistance or resources post-storm, you can call 1-833-GET-HOPE, 1-833-GET-HOPE. Hope Florida's disaster arm, Activate Hope, is a program designed to help people find help following a disaster such as a hurricane. So you can call the Hope line. You can also visit the Hope bus, which will be in some of these areas very soon, and there'll be announcements about that. Florida Commerce and the State Emergency Response Team activated the Business Damage Assessment Survey in response to Hurricane Milton. Business owners can self-report physical and economic damage caused by the storm. Businesses can complete the survey online at floridadisaster.biz, floridadisaster.biz. Florida Commerce has also activated the Small Business Emergency Bridge Loan Program. We have $50 million available to Florida small businesses, and it's a zero interest loan, very flexible repayment options. You can apply for loans of up to $50,000 through the program. Loans of up to $100,000 are available for agriculture and aquaculture small businesses. And loans of
you were just listening to Governor DeSantis there in Tallahassee giving an update on Hurricane Milton. You know, we heard him say there a significant storm, of course, but not worst case scenario.
No, he's saying the storm surge not as bad as what we saw for Hurricane Helene. And of course, we were certainly worried about what that storm was going to do to the Tampa Bay, and it wound up making landfall south of that, more towards Sarasota and the Fort Myers area.
Yeah, he talked a lot about first responders having been out, you know, all through the night as it was safe to do so, and that linemen are out there now, you know, working to restore power. 48 people were rescued overnight. He didn't specify where, but, you know, in Florida, 48 people had to be rescued overnight. And as of right now, you know, we've heard Danielle talk about power outages, but 3.1 million customers are without power across the state.
You can continue to watch Governor DeSantis' press conference right now on CBS12.com. We're going to have more of CBS 12 News special coverage tracking Milton coming up after this.
Welcome back to CBS 12 News. Our special coverage tracking Milton continues this morning.
That's right. We've had our Lexi Cruz going around the Rocky Point neighborhood, checking in with the community there, speaking to people as they're waking up and assessing the damage outside their homes and their neighbors' homes. Lexi, what have you found now?
Yeah, Matt, I don't know if you guys remember, I was telling you that some of these yards look okay in the front, but the back is really where the problem is. We're going to take you to two backyards right now. This woman who lives here, her screen door is quite literally on her patio. She's peeking her head out there. What a lovely woman. The neighbors have already stopped by to see how they could help her clean up. I'm going to draw your attention to this backyard here. That screen that used to be a screened-in pool, that is no more. Pieces of neighbors' furniture and roofs and property are ending up in their neighbors' pools. It's real. Today when there's tornadoes ripped through. Now I'm going to take you over to Miss Deborah Smith. She's been in this neighborhood for about 5 years, but you wouldn't know it. She knows everybody. She's been checking in with all her neighbors today. Deborah, yesterday when these tornadoes came through, can you tell me what you heard and what you saw?
Yeah, as soon as I got home from work yesterday, I invited all the neighbors over to have like a pre-hurricane party, little drink. And just as soon as we had our, get everybody getting together, we thought we heard a train. It wasn't the train. The power went out. We walked outside and we saw the most ominous clouds, and then we saw the circular, motion going. Debris started flying and it started coming at us pretty quick. So we all just kind of hunkered in and watched it go over, and then tried to assess the situation, right afterwards. We heard a second one come through, so we went back in. We didn't see it. I guess it was, a little further up. But, yeah, the neighborhood is, really pulling together, helping each other out.
Oh, I can tell. I've only been here for an hour, and I've seen you across the street. You've been all around to your neighbors. I mean, just walking outside and your home and seeing your next door neighbor have their property completely destroyed. What is that like for you?
Well, it's kind of unreal. You just think about, I'm just grateful everybody's okay, nobody got hurt, because there's a lot of kids in the neighborhood. And, we just start pulling everything together. What do you have? Who's got a generator? Who doesn't? Do we have a chainsaw? Let's, packages of gloves, pulling them out so we can all just help each other get everything cleaned up. Yeah, it's a good neighborhood to live in for sure.
Yeah, it's an excellent neighborhood. You guys are awesome towards each other. Thank you, Deborah, so much. And like she was saying, this cleanup only just beginning as the sun is rising and neighbors are walking out to see what's going on in each other's yards and how that they can help each other out. We'll go ahead and send it back to you guys at the desk.
All right, Lexi, thank you. We are continuing our coverage here tracking Milton. We're going to take a short break and then we'll be back with you.
All right, 851, tracking Milton. Right now, let's get to Stephanie Valderrama. She is live for us in Wellington. Steph, exactly where are you right now?
Yeah, so I'm back at the preserve here in Banks Forest. We've been out here all morning long. I'm joined by Melissa now. You live here in Wellington. You said your parents live here in the preserve. And last night, after these tornadoes rolled through, you actually came here because you lost power at your house.
Correct, yes. We were about 5 o'clock or maybe 4:45 yesterday. We had a tornado warning. And I got my kids, my husband, and my dogs, and we went in our safe room. We actually had a friend over, which was maybe not the smartest thing to do, and went into our safe room, didn't hear a thing, but then we lost power, had no internet. So I went outside and I started seeing all these ambulances go by my house. I don't even live in this neighborhood, but since we lost power, we thought it'd be smart to come over here. And then we saw all the cop cars right through this area because they live on the street. And my son was very nervous. He said to me this morning, "Mom, as much as I don't want to have school, I'd rather not have a tornado and go to school." So it really hit him hard, I think.
Your son, she has two sons, but your younger son who was here earlier. I mean, just seeing this damage, I mean,
really,
are there words for it?
Not really. I cannot believe it hit so close to home. Like, the X's on the houses mean that the people are safe. Like, we learned all this stuff in just, 10 hours.
And your parents are okay. You said that their house was not damaged, but they're on this road.
Correct, yeah. And they have a whole house generator, so we knew that if our house got damaged, we could come over here. But then last night, it was so scary. I felt like I was in an airplane with all the wind. It almost shook the house. So I didn't get much sleep last night.
Melissa, thank you. I do want to take our viewers to really show them, what we've been talking about, what we're looking at, because we were here this morning. Melissa, thank you. And I didn't even realize that there is literally a car butted up to this house. Shelb, if you can zoom in on that. I mean, it is incredible. And that just goes to show you how powerful, the tornadoes were that rolled through here. It picked up the debris as well, slammed that car right into that home. And then over here is the other house, one of the ones that we first showed you at about, 2 o'clock this morning. This is the one where the garage doors were just ripped off of the house. This is probably one of the worst damages that we've seen. But for now, we're going to send it back to you guys. It's getting a little loud out here, so you guys can come back to us. Matt, Sam?
All right, we're actually going to take a look at the weather right now. Here's a live look currently from Lake Worth Beach. We actually have some sun out. We still have some breezy conditions, even gusty conditions along our immediate coastline. But after Milton moved through, we actually have this northwest wind flow, so it's not feeling too bad outside. Temperatures running in the mid-70s as you're conducting maybe surveys around your house through this morning. Our humidity will drop heading into the weekend, so not feeling quite as humid. We do have a few showers just north of our area, and our wind will begin to decrease heading through this afternoon. We're going to send things now to a commercial break. We'll be right back after this with more Hurricane Milton coverage.
It's a new day. This is CBS 12 News at 9 a.m.
Yes, good morning, everybody. I'm Matt Lincoln.
And I'm Sam Kerrigan. 9 o'clock now. And in the aftermath of Hurricane Milton, we are now learning that there are at least 4 confirmed deaths in St. Lucie County.
Yeah, so we have a new video showing the aftermath of a tornado there in St. Lucie County. It destroyed a 10,000-foot sheriff's facility. You can see the structure fall in vehicles and on a boat as well.
Other parts of the state waking up to tremendous damage. This video shows extensive flooding in the Fort Myers area. We did see a lot of flooding in Fort Myers from the storm surge, a lot of streets looking like rivers.
The damage there, really significant. Also, some closed circuit footage showing some floodwaters right here.
Wow.
Reaching the top of a restaurant staircase in Fort Myers. Meteorologist Jen Collins and Lauren Oleski here also. This is some very heavy storm surge.
I mean, you always sort of wait. The video you always find, at least for me, the most sort of jaw-dropping is the storm surge. I mean, the power of water is unbelievable. Hide from the wind, but you run from the water, and that's why, because this water comes in off the ocean and there's nothing to stop it.
Mm-hmm. We also have some video showing the Orange County Fire Rescue conducting water rescues. Overnight, crews checked every house in the area to help people affected by the flooding. They did get a lot of rain in that area, right,
that's
Lauren?
Central Florida,
yeah.
Orange County, right? And it's a look inside Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg. We've been showing you this video all morning long. This is where the Tampa Bay Rays play. And Tropicana Field was previously hosting thousands of linemen and National Guard members as they prepared to respond to the damage of the storm. Spokesperson for the governor says that the staging area had been relocated at the time the roof blew off.
It's like they already knew that it was going to happen.
Right?
It's not,
I
not
wonder
structurally safe.
If they'll build a retractable roof now, if the goal was to have it sort of feel outside-ish,
Or just leave it open, because the cloth isn't going to survive another hurricane.
Well, it's a bad stadium to play baseball in. It's also a bad place, apparently, also to try to house first responders.
You don't have a good baseball team?
No, it's just not a great place to watch baseball.
Oh, fair.
Good news is people waking up today
Yeah, well,
and seeing this damage, but weather-wise, we're actually looking pretty
weather-wise
good.
it's okay, but of course yesterday we had, a significant severe weather outbreak here in our area, multiple long-track tornadoes. This was the radar loop of what Milton looked like when it produced those tornadoes across our area. We were watching them live on air as they were happening, and just seeing the size and the kind of damage that we're looking at this morning as we're starting to get the light of the day after Milton made landfall along the west coast of Florida. Certainly some surprising images from that. But here's a look at all of the tornado warnings that were issued across the state. 126 tornado warnings in total. Now, this isn't the total number of tornadoes itself. This just shows you how the tornadoes were traveling from county to county, and so they had to extend the tornado warnings every single time they were moving out of the polygons. So long track tornadoes were reported across the area yesterday. A few confirmed as well due to the fact that we had video evidence of them. A large cluster of tornado reports right around the Treasure Coast area. Now, I want to point out some wind gust report from yesterday too. You can see here that thunderstorm wind gust in the North Palm Beach area at the North Palm Beach Palm Beach Regional County Airport. 92-mile-per-hour wind gust, and that was due to the fact that the tornado passed over or near the airport. So today we still have tropical storm warnings in effect for the northern Treasure Coast and Okeechobee County, just because we're still seeing some stronger wind gusts in the area. But as Milton moves off the coast of North Florida and moves away from the state, it's being picked up by wind shear and dry air. It will eventually weaken as it does, moving off into the central Atlantic and away from Florida as it does. So here's a look at our wind gust forecast through to the day today. Still a little gusty through about 9 and 11 o'clock, and then we'll ease back our wind speeds heading into the afternoon. Winds are still ranging anywhere from about 20 to 30 miles per hour, some gusts even as high as about 39 miles per hour. We'll stay gusty through about the lunchtime hour, then breezy through the afternoon. Good conditions to get out and kind of see any sort of damage in the area. And then looking ahead towards tomorrow, we do have an onshore wind flow, and that will bring in a few showers and into our area as we head through the day on Thursday. You can see here showers will be on Friday, excuse me. Showers will work their way onshore as well as we take a look at what is as we're watching here. So certainly, we had the tornadoes yesterday. We're starting to, improve our conditions for today. And Lauren, we do have the breezy conditions for today. That's set to improve heading into this afternoon, but it's actually not looking too bad outside overall right now.
I'd say even right now, kind of already starting to improve. My mic keeps going.
I think your mic is off.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so I think Lauren's. Yeah, Lauren's mic, I think, died. So maybe we can find another solution. So we're going to go back to Matt and Sam now to continue our coverage here.
All right, thank you, Jen and Lauren. Just a little bit ago, we told you the Blue Heron Bridge and Riviera Beach was shut down because of some concerns because of vessels in the area of the bridge.
Yeah, so certainly we're waking up and seeing some of the damage. Very little that is east of 441 in Palm Beach County, but we are seeing some right now in the Riviera Beach area. Let's get to Danielle DeRoss.
Yeah, Matt and Sam, I'm taking a look here at a post from the city of Riviera Beach, which is letting people know why the Blue Heron Bridge is closed to the public right now. And they say that there is a marine vessel impacting the bridge. Interesting, though, it's not a boat. When you look at it, it appears to be more of a shack. So there's probably a lot more to the story here, but it would appear that this structure somehow came loose and ended up hitting the Blue Heron Bridge. And so what they say right now is that they need to have an inspection from the Florida DOT to make sure that the Blue Heron Bridge is not compromised. But that is the structure that they are posting on social media right now, letting people know why you cannot use this bridge. They've also put out some other alerts, letting people know about some railroad crossings in Riviera Beach that are not functioning right now, some traffic lights that are down. So it certainly sounds like the area of Riviera Beach, not easy to get around right now, so probably best to avoid it altogether. Want to also let you know what we're seeing around the state. This is from the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office, and I'm going to click on these photos here so you can get a good look at the power lines and the angle that they're at after Hurricane Milton swept through. So this one leaning at a very extreme angle here, and these ones are almost touching the street. That's how far they bent from the winds. Pretty incredible when you consider how strong the winds would have to be to do something like that. We're also seeing from the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office severe flooding in Clearwater, one of the many communities hit very hard by this storm. You see there some emergency crews waiting in water, and these folks here appear to be evacuating. And this right here, that is flood water on top of the roof of a car, almost nearly covering an entire vehicle. Matt and Sam.
Wow, Danielle, all right, thank you. We're taking a live look right now out at Lake Worth Beach, where it is looking like a nice start to the day. But as you are waking up and going around your community, we'd like to share, we'd like to see your photos and videos. So share them with us. We're just trying to paint the full picture of how these tornadoes and the storm has affected our community. So share them with us, chime in, use the QR code, the bottom left corner of your screen, and then we will share them on the air here in CBS 12 News. Stick with us.
Welcome back to CBS 12 News. Our coverage tracking Milton continues. Our Stephanie Valderrama has been live all morning for us in the village of Wellington, which is just one area that saw major destruction after those tornadoes moved through our area yesterday. And when we last checked in with Steph, she had found a house with a car, wedged all the way up against the home. Steph, are you still in that same area? Have you moved a little bit?
Yeah, we've certainly been following the destruction all morning, Sam. So I showed you this house earlier this morning at 2 a.m. And at that point, we could see the damage. But now with the daylight, it is just unreal. Absolutely devastating sight for these homeowners here. I mean, there's piles of debris that are now in front of their homes. The garage doors, one of them completely blown off. Now, the one on the left is sort of sitting in a car that is parked in the garage there. And even the windows of this home, the glass is just blown off and parts of the roof are gone. This is absolutely devastating for these people. And then even next door to them, the neighbor there starting to chainsaw some of the debris off of his yard, off of his car. Parts of his roof are gone as well, so the damage here is extensive. We've shown you these homes, but down the street, actually, there is no damage. It just blew right through here, damaged these homes here. Really hard to see and wake up to this morning, but as you can see, work has started to clean this up, and really, as they start cleaning it up, they'll see even more of what these tornadoes left behind in this area. Now, as far as we're concerned, from the mayor of the village of Wellington, despite all of this destruction, he's saying no fatalities in this area, but people were treated for injuries. Now, the extent of those injuries, we are not sure yet, but this is the scene right now. A lot of people also out here sort of walking around, checking on their neighbors, which is really beautiful to see. We've seen deputies riding up and down here as well, ensuring that this place is secured, that there's no one coming in here that shouldn't be coming in here. Shelb has turned the camera all the way around to this pond here behind these homes, and even on this side there are down trees just everywhere. I mean, it is hard to just take it all in. Now, later this morning, we're hoping to hear from the sheriff of Palm Beach County, Sheriff Bradshaw, to get an update on what security measures are going to look like in this area while they, start that rebuilding process and the cleanup process. But for now, Sam, we're going to send it back to you.
All right, Stephanie, thank you. It's something we've seen in all the communities that our reporters are fanned across this morning is, times like this really brings people together, and it's really wonderful to see everyone checking in and making sure that their neighbors are okay. They may have damage to their house, but they still want to make sure that everyone else is doing all right, too.
I've been texting a friend of mine from Westlake who's saying he's grabbing his chainsaw and going out to help right now. We're actually going to be chatting with the mayor of Westlake coming up in a little bit here as we continue to follow what's going on in the aftermath here of Hurricane Milton. Stick with us. And welcome back. CBS 12 News continuing coverage of tracking Milton. Let's go now to CBS 12 News reporter Kara Duffy. She is live in Westlake to see how that city is waking up this morning. Kara?
Yeah, Matt, it certainly looks a bit different here than it does compared to where we started in the acreage. And of course, that is a good thing. A lot of people waking up this morning, perhaps surprised to not see quite as much damage as some of the other surrounding areas, but they certainly did not get off without having any issues. This is one of the areas that is believed to have had a tornado rip through it. I'm joined this morning by the mayor of the city of Westlake, J.P. O'Connor. Thanks for joining us, Mayor O'Connor. What can you tell us as far as what you've seen? I know you just kind of took a loop around the area. What are you seeing?
So initial reports is we were incredibly lucky. We did have a tornado come through. Actually, we had several come through. It seemed to have, by all early accounts, it seemed to have completely dodged anything of significance. A lot of cosmetic damage. Obviously, a lot of trees are down. We'll have crews here within the hour starting to put the city back together. But we're fine. We didn't lose internet. We didn't lose power. We lost it for a split second, which was a split second too much for me. But we seem to be okay, thank goodness.
Yeah, and I know we were chatting a little bit earlier, but even just from us kind of making our way through Palm Beach County, one thing that we've been seeing a lot of these cities and towns deal with are down power lines. And you were saying that because the city is so relatively new here, that kind of helped you out when it came to some of the challenges that some people would typically see with the power outages and the lines, of course, that could be incredibly dangerous.
Absolutely. We are one of the few cities in the state, for that matter, where 100% of our utilities, 100% of our infrastructure is below ground. That's all of our cable lines, all of our electric lines. We even have the ability to drop all of our water levels by pushing a metaphorical button. We can drain all the lakes simultaneously to accommodate any incoming water. So, as you can see, we don't have an inch of standing water. Like I said, the power fluctuated for a second, but all of our utilities and everything being below ground, we have an extremely resilient infrastructure. Not to mention every single city in the city of Westlake is equipped with natural gas, and all of our lift stations are on backup generators. It's just great to be brand new and great to have wonderful infrastructure to support something like this.
Yeah, certainly very fortunate because, we've seen firsthand just from driving around, you go a few miles down the road and it's certainly a much different situation. Before we send it back to Matt and Sam at the station, what can any message for the people of either the city of Westlake waking up or just people in our community, South Florida, the Treasure Coast, as they wake up to see some of this damage? Because as we know, so many people are waking up to a much different circumstance this morning.
Of course. So we have a 50-plus community here in Westlake as well. The Crestwinds, I've done a brief check-in on them. They seem to be fine. But all I can say is we are a very resilient people here in Florida. We help each other, rely on your neighbors, and we'll offer any help that we can, of course.
All right, thank you so much. Mayor O'Connor with the city of Westlake here. I'm going to send it back to you, Matt, Sam. We're going to continue to stay put, make our way through Palm Beach County and check out some of the other damage in the area and circle back in just a few.
Yeah, Kara, thank you. A lot of the video that we got yesterday of those tornadoes were coming from the people of Westlake, just kind of watching it go across from their windows. And so thankful that everyone in that city is okay today.
We are taking a live look right now at the University of Tampa. We're keeping a close eye on what's going on, on the other side of our state where they took that direct hit from Milton. And here, the damage we are seeing after all those tornadoes yesterday. Stick with us. Our special coverage tracking Milton continues after this break.
All right, back here with our continuing coverage tracking Milton, and the big headline today as we continue to sort of show how our community is waking up this morning to the damage from these tornadoes yesterday is that right now we know there were 4 fatalities, all in the Fort Pierce area. St. Lucie County Sheriff has